Okay, good.
We are live.
We're probably live by now.
Allegedly.
Allegedly live. I don't know why we're doing this, but it seemed like a good idea at the time to just go live super late so that we could be joined by Jesse from Still It, who is slumming things to join us.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this has been a long time in the making, dude. I'm sorry it's...
It has been. Getting you on one of the normal streams is a little tricky with the time difference over there to New Zealand.
Yeah. It's like...
We figured this would be a good compromise, and I mean, probably no one will show up. So if we screw it up, it doesn't matter, right?
And weirdly, I think this is only the third time Jesse and I have hung out, and the time zone's easier for us too.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Slack, dude. Slack.
Practically neighbors.
And I think every time we've done it, I've been in the middle of, like, I've got a mash going or something, and I drop in for 10 minutes and then run away.
Or Brad and I have already been going for 6 hours.
Yeah.
There is that. Was Jesse there? I don't know. I don't remember. It was like 12 hours into the hangout. I don't know what's going on.
Poor Aquavite Roy's been on the receiving end of, I think, 3 or 4 12-hour plus ranty. Yeah.
Seems right. He's a good dude, though. He's a good sport about it. Thankfully.
Man, that guy is far too nice.
He is. All right.
I put up with myself for 12 hours.
So you know I'm doing a challenge at the moment, right, Jesse?
I do, dude. And I am thoroughly intrigued about it. What have you got? Oh, cool. There you go.
Yeah,
all right. There you
go. First, and this will be the first whiskey of the new year as well.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Have you opened it yet, or are you literally opening it now?
Literally just opened it then. I walked in the door all of about 4.5 minutes ago, Jesse.
I know, I got that feeling, dude. Yeah. We're just sitting here talking shit about you while you weren't, able to defend yourself.
And now we can continue. Now that you're here, we can finally talk shit about you to your face. So it's fine.
I don't think I've had grants at all for about 15 odd years.
Oh well.
I don't think I've ever had it, actually.
I don't think I have either.
I used to grab it every now and then, 15, 20 odd years ago, because it was just a cheap, generic blend that wasn't Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
So all I know about it is it's a Duff Town, and I remember it used to get you drunk.
Sure. It probably still would. I imagine it would still work that way.
I like the advertising. It's triple wood. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's a blended scotch from many different casks, but it's a triple wood.
Sure. At least.
Yeah.
At least triple wood. There's actually an amazing number of people in the chat, given how absurdly late this stream is starting.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I can't see that, can I?
I mean, you could. You just need more monitors, Jesse. All the monitors.
You need like 7 or 8 monitors.
Oh, there we go.
It's perfect.
Yeah, we've got cask strength in the chat. Welcome, guys.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. Charles Unsworth, Mark up at still in Canada. Peter Deacon, Rick. I haven't got my glasses on. Milovic.
I remember this guy.
Yeah. Graham Young's in. Hey, Graham.
Sure.
And, of course, Ed. Ed from Rock Gut.
Yeah.
Ed, what's up, mate?
All right, Jesse. So what are you drinking there? What are you working on? I see you're hydrating. That's good.
I've got a pale ale. I've got some polenta whiskey, actually, of all things. And some water.
Nice.
Sipping a little of everything. This stuff's weird, man. It tastes like polenta. But
that's weird. That's
kind of
strange.
Savory yum way, but not quite. I don't know, man. It's getting better as it gets older, actually. So
cool.
Yeah. What about you, dude? What are you drinking tonight?
I'm starting on some Redbreast 12 cask strength in my new Norster, I think is how you say it, glasses. I just ordered them on Amazon the other day. They showed up today. I figured I would give it a try. Just sort of like fake Glencairns without the bottom, but metal. So if I drop it, it's not a disaster.
Can I see that shape again? Oh yeah, it's pretty close, isn't it?
It's not exact, but like it's definitely the same idea.
It looks bigger in every direction.
It is. It fits my hand a lot, but like versus Glencairn, right? It's a little fatter, but same sort of idea.
I must admit, we were having a quick talk about this before, but I've been given the Norland a crack, and I love the feel of it in the hand. The little dinky bums on the Glencairns, I always end up holding it like this and feeling like it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's just not comfortable.
You got to stick that pinky out too, though, if you're going to hold it like that, man.
That's where sometimes going to the wine glasses and things like that is just that little bit nicer, I think, with the stem.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then there's a certain point in the night that you don't want any stemmed glassware, full stop.
But at that point of the night, I don't think I'm really going to be wanting to drink out of this either, where that thing looks like less of a hazard.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, sort of same shape, but less disastrous potential if I'm on a 12 or 14-hour hangout with Jeremy. Things get a little crazy by the end sometimes, and messes happen.
Sometimes it's just a case of, hey, Jeremy, if you don't hear from me, message April and let her know I'm stuck on the stairs.
I have to go up a couple flights of stairs. If you haven't heard from me in a few minutes, alert the authorities. Yeah, Graham is saying in the chat that he has the same kind of deal, but in a wood grain. Sort of metal wood grain picture thing. Yeah, it's been good. I've been using it a little bit today. It's worked out so far. I can smell everything. It's fairly similar to a Glencairn as far as nosing and stuff. Not quite the same, probably, but
isn't it crazy? Like every now and again, you run into an experience where you drink whiskey out of something that you would normally never drink out of, but that's all you've got. And it reminds me how a huge effect these things have.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
In general, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I drank
and not even always like for the better. Like I've randomly had glasses and been tasting something and get like a totally different smell than I usually get. That's great. Like, I'm getting a totally different note out of this. That's weird.
Yeah, I did a tasting of some of my stuff with a couple of the guys in Austin. And the only thing he had was kind of like this. He had a few different glasses, but we'd run out. And it was kind of like a wine glass, but kind of a goblet shape as well. Halfway between a wine glass and almost more like a martini angle on it, but not as shallow. And we tried that there, and both of them were like, "Yeah, this is horrible. I don't like it." Switched it into another glass. Oh yeah, it's delicious. Yum. It blows my mind every time
it's very weird.
I must admit, I thought these were wankery, snobbery, and horse shit before I bought.
Sure, it's going to make a huge difference, the kind of glass you're drinking. Right. Just trying to sell me glasses. You know how it is.
And there is something about leaving an Isla in a Glencairn overnight and then coming back to it the next morning. And there may not be any actual drinkable liquid in there, but there is so much just to explore in the glass somehow. Far beyond what you would get in another glass, though. But yeah, I love doing that.
Yep.
I mean, I'd rather drink it, but
yeah,
if you discover it the next morning, it's not a complete waste.
Brad and I often discover whiskeys the next morning.
That happens. Yeah. Sometimes the hangout is still going, and we're discovering it on a regular basis. That hasn't happened in a little while, but
no, and it might happen. Hey, my birthday's in about a month, Brad.
There you go.
Oh, I cheated, and I put a bit of ginger beer.
Oh, did you?
Dare you?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's good. Oh no, the Grants wasn't bad. A, it's been a little while since I've had a whiskey, and B, I've been having a completely different class of whiskey for a while now. So going back to what is effectively something that should be blended, well, should be blended is probably the wrong word, but is made predominantly to be blended or iced or watered down is,
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Sometimes, really, whoever gave you that challenge, man, that's really rough.
You know what, though?
I don't know about that guy.
It's all about the 74 views it'll get over the lifetime of the series.
True.
That's a freaking cool idea, man. I love the concept.
Yeah,
because I must admit, when I first started getting into, I mean, that's why I started Still It. I always wanted to get into spirits. I always wanted to be able to. My idea then was to drink cocktails. You know, I couldn't afford to drop lots of money on lots of different bottles of spirits. So to do it that way, and to let other people that feel like they're not allowed into this hobby come along with you, it's perfect, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah. And look, it's the advantage of I have, near on 20 years of spirit drinking. I started on whiskey, when I was 16 or so. And
okay.
Yeah, but having that knowledge base, but the restricted budget, so it'll be interesting to see how sane I am in about 4 months' time.
So you're literally not drinking anything else?
So beer and stuff like that is fine.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So no, I haven't been sober that whole time. That would be ridiculous. But
Crazy.
In terms of spirits, so
cool. And are you limiting yourself just at home? Like if you go over to a friend's house, do you have to take a bottle with you? And
no, so the collection is going to be at home. If I happen to go to someone else's house and the event would call for a bottle of whiskey, then I would bring a bottle of whiskey.
Right.
Otherwise, whatever their collection is will be greatly partaken in.
But mooching is okay, basically.
Mooching is fine.
It's a financial challenge, not a.
And likewise, the incoming whiskey is only from the budget or from gifts and stuff like that. So you help someone move and they give you a bottle or whatever.
Right,
you accept it without much, prompting as such. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, so basically, you're giving yourself the same situation that you would be in.
Yeah.
If that was the actual budget you had for whiskey, and that's cool, man. Cool. You also said that you were going to do. Get other people to kind of do virtual challenges. How's that going to work, man? Or is that all secret still?
No. I haven't heard from anyone. They're all slacked. I'll tell you, whiskey tubers, man.
Yeah, those whiskey tubers, they're the worst, aren't they?
So ideally, as soon as I hear back from some people, but New Year's and stuff, give them the allocation, so that whole month's equivalent worth of budget. And say, this is your budget. What would you buy if you had to buy glassware or whiskey or all that fun shit? And then just compile a virtual list, and then whatever's left over in their budget will go to the next person the next month. Mostly to cater for. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna have like one virtual budget and one virtual collection, and then different guests get to attribute to that what they would do. That's a cool thing, man. Right.
Yeah. So and that course alleviates the North American whiskey sort of thing, where bourbons are very expensive outside of North America.
Oh yeah,
sure.
But obviously, like that is a cream of viewership anywhere on YouTube, but also the cream of what's available for most people. Like that's hey, why would we begrudge someone's? We pay 3 times as much for Maker's Mark, but it's a viable option if you're got the ability.
I was just going to say we pay the same price for what Maker's Mark is, Redbreast 12 or something. Yeah. Pretty damn close. Which I just, after being in America and seeing the bourbon flow freely, I can't bring myself to buy it here. It's crazy.
That red breast is looking very good, isn't it?
Oh, totally, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's not that much different here. We have it a little easier here for bourbon than you guys do, I'm sure, but not by that much. It is crazy how much a lot of just very sort of standard bourbons cost, especially in Ontario. But
and plastic whiskey jugs is almost unheard of in most places here. So
yeah.
That's true.
What do I want to go for next?
Well, Redbreast 32. You've got some still, haven't you?
I do, but I mean, I don't know. I'm going to run out before you get into the area. That's going to be a little.
Oh, well, no. Definitely save some for when I go.
Maybe I'll go with the Crowded Barrel Wyoming Alliance.
Nice.
Haven't actually tried this one yet. I just took the plastic off earlier, but I haven't actually. I don't know.
I wanted to see you twist that and just repeatedly thinking it was a twist top and that's a cork or something.
Right. No. Thankfully, it's even a synthetic cork.
Oh, lovely. Well, that's something that Rex is a huge proponent of, isn't it? Like the synthetic cork, it does the job. You don't get breakage. It just removes the risk.
Oh, we just got a $5.50 super chat by Graham Young. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Graham. Cheers and stop that avoidance, Jared. I'm not avoiding anything, am I?
Oh, Teresa, the Canadian whiskey.
Oh, yay.
Turned up. Hey, Teresa.
Oh, now
must be professional.
we get at least one a quarter.
That's true. We've had a dozen of them.
A dozen.
Crazy.
I've had 0, dude. So there you go. You're kicking my ass.
We can fix that. We can change that.
Yeah.
You got to get me to vibe first, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, so real talk, real YouTube geekery talk. I tried it for a while. I gave it a really good nudge for not that long. Maybe I did like 5 or 6 of them. And the thinking was that it's easy enough to sit down and interact directly with the people that can make it, which is really cool for the community, right? And then I can let the videos go up as videos for easy extra bonus content.
Sure.
But the problem was every time I put a video out, all my metrics just tanked because it was a video that wasn't a video, I guess. But YouTube treated it as a video. I don't know. Every time I put it, like I was growing, started doing live streams and then as soon as I stopped, I went up again.
So there's only one person in Cask Strength that has any idea what the metrics are doing, and I don't care.
I mean, I could look, I guess. Technically speaking, I have access to the numbers. I just haven't bothered looking.
You just don't care to look at them.
We have had a steady engagement and a steady order. It just runs itself. It's fine.
Yeah, whatever. It's all good.
Plus, we don't really do any content other than this tomfoolery stuff. So
every once in a while, Vito will put out something. Or, there's like weird little things, but we've definitely been leaning very hard on the streaming for many months at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's much easier to edit a live stream than it is a video.
Well, and that was exactly my thinking, dude. There is no editing. You put it together, slap a logo sting at the beginning if you can be asked, and Bob's your uncle, or you just tell YouTube to take care of it. Go.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that, Brad, you're in it for the whiskey and the super.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. The whiskey. The super chat. I'm not even worried about the super chats. That doesn't matter to me.
I think if we work out the budget, Brad's still owed many dollars to from Cask
we're
Strength.
definitely in the red. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's fine. Not by a ton or anything. Doesn't matter.
Wow. I mean, if you guys started attributing your habit to the business, it might be a different story.
Oh no, we'd be very much.
It's all tax write-offs for me. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, see,
I'm a certified whiskey sommelier. Like, this is all tax write-offs for me. It's research, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
It's perfectly legal. I'm pretty
He's
sure.
the guy wearing a fucking tuxedo t-shirt.
Look, I got fancy for you. We were having a professional on, so I got probably my second or third fanciest outfit.
It's not his adult costume.
No, it's not my adult costume.
Yeah. I hear you, dude. I mean, I went to work in this today.
Oh,
Nice.
lovely.
Andalusia represent.
Nice.
The idea of a button-up shirt is, I wore a button-up shirt yesterday because we've got problems with the water and our washing machine wasn't running. So it was literally what I thought was the only clean top I had in the house. And when I say clean, I mean worn less than 5 times.
You've
So I
got
wore
you've got 104 children now. I mean, it must feel like it with the age that they're at.
I believe that. As a father of one, I definitely believe there would be just way too many. It's exponential, right? Every kid is an exponential amount of work.
Yes, but the twins were easier than Aria just because of we'd already gone from having no kids to having a kid, and everything changes, and then
Sure.
2 more turn up when you're expecting 1, and it's just more of the same, if that makes sense. It's not, dude. People that go from nothing to twins overnight. Oh my god.
Jeez, yeah. My sister-in-law had one, tried to have another one, got twins.
I was going to say that
Exactly what
the guy
happened to
next
us.
door, had 2, and they thought, well, let's have 3. 3 is a good number. Triplets.
Oh, jeez.
Triplets. Oh my god, the
Yikes.
poor bloke. So he's like, yeah, we'll have. But they'd worked out the budget brilliantly, so he's going to leave his job and then do some study part time and do some work. All went out the window with just one ultrasound. He's like, yep, nope.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Life happens like that.
Yeah. That's good. I just send the dog over next door and he comes back fully padded and worn out, and life's good.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
I kind of want to drink this to get to the next one now.
Now, how is the
Teresa, you need a
polenta?
new accountant. That's
Sorry, what were you going to say, Jeremy?
The polenta whiskey, is that your own run or is that someone else's run?
Oh, that's mine. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And that is how, because I remember you've done a polenta one once before. That must be a while ago though.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's got a date on here because I suck at keeping notes in the bottles. Yeah, it's getting oldish. Maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
2 months. It's pretty dark.
Yeah.
for 6 months, yeah. Jeez.
I mean, it's got a pretty large amount of wood sitting in the bottom, and it was charred pretty heavily. But it seems like the polenta is starting to go. It's not ashy, but you know how sometimes it's almost the mouthfeel.
That dusty, dry.
Yes, yeah. But that dialed up to 11, and then you throw a little bit of the grassiness in with it. Not full on, more like hay, I guess, than green grass, and it almost makes it ashy.
Interesting.
So the full on polenta flavor is starting to go towards that and caramel, because it used to just taste like polenta in a glass, dude. Yeah, which was weird.
So you need like a 20% polenta, like a 40% corn, and then just make the rest up as a barley peated and just go for gold.
I mean, should you do that right now?
Yeah. Science.
Science, yeah. A little bit of science.
Let's go 50-50.
This is professional work here with actual measuring instruments and stuff.
Well,
Crazy.
look, we have a whiskey somm. Yes,
I mean it is, but it's just a grabby device, really, because my hands are too fat to get in there.
That and trying to scoop liquid out in any measurable form with your hands, just
be a little awkward. I mean, normally I would like pour, but whatever. To each their own.
Dude, pouring out of these sucks.
That's true. Fair.
Makes a Sexton whiskey make just a dream.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Much better than that.
Cy Berno is asking who's had the Peerless, and I have not, as far as I remember, at least.
No.
So this one is actually aged with Balcones barrels.
Oh, nice.
Not in the barrel, but the first time I was at the Fang and Feather, I stole, those staves that they did the char level demonstration on? Yeah, I pinched one of those.
Shouldn't admit to those types of things on live streams. They might not happy you for that.
It's all right, isn't it? A 1 year statute of limitation.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, so can you not release this for like another month?
Does New Zealand have an extradition treaty with the U.S.? I'm not sure.
I don't think
anyone. I'm sure you're fine. I'm sure you're fine.
Just use another passport. It's all good. Use the other passport, Jesse.
Things you shouldn't admit on live streams. Let's make a list. I'd say it was fine because no one would watch us this late, but we actually have a good amount of viewers. This is great.
Yeah.
How many people are there?
13 watching.
Hello, 13 people.
I was going to say 2 of them are me and Brad, but that's still good.
None of them are me. I'm just on the StreamYard thing, so I don't even count.
All right, so there's only 12 then. That's still. This would be a question for Brad, being the sommelier and the professional that he is. Anyone ever age on Canadian white ash? I kind of remember. I think someone has.
There's been a couple of things. I think 40 Creek does a lot of things with like random types of Canadian wood, so it wouldn't surprise me if they've tried to do stuff, but I'm pretty sure a couple of others have, yeah. There's been a fair amount of experimentation with Canadian wood from the smaller Canadian distilleries that are popping up and trying to do interesting things that make their whiskey not taste like Canadian whiskey.
Yeah. But your regulations are much looser on what you can do to a spirit and still call it a whiskey, right?
Much looser.
which is
like
hilarious.
That rye whiskey that's made 100% from corn.
Right. If someone involved in distillery at one point saw a rye plant, they could call it a rye, basically. It's super weird. It's super, super weird. As long as it tastes like Canadian whiskey in a vague, subjective way, then they could call it a rye because those are the same, I guess.
Right.
Somehow, by that standard, it's super weird. Thankfully, a lot of the distilleries doing interesting things are very clear about what they're doing to the whiskeys. But yes, technically, it could be called a rye with just about anything in it around here. It's super weird. And like 9+% just random flavoring. It's fine. They don't have to mention it.
I guess that's more what I was referring to, which can be disgusting, right? Like that can be ridiculous. But at the same time, a random flavoring doesn't have to be,
right. And if it's not overpowering, it's just adding something. Like it could be good.
Yeah.
It tends to not be because it tends to be used by the sort of lower end whiskeys just to try to get crap on the shelves. But there's nothing stopping someone from using like 1 or 2% flavoring just to nudge it in a certain direction or something and have it be good. But that seems to be a rare case. Although some of the flavored whiskeys are flying off the shelves, like the
peach.
Yeah, the Crown Royal Peach. Like it doesn't even stay on the shelves around here. Like it just disappears like crazy. People are going crazy for it for some reason.
The funny thing is, if I take my whiskey geek hat off and put on my just let's drink something yum hat, and don't think of it as whiskey, I can totally see how that would. I mean, I haven't tried it, but I can totally see how that would be delicious.
It's so
Not whiskey, but delicious.
So from a businessy, historic-y point, because I'm a weirdo that has looked into this a fair bit, there has been like a traditional cycle of things. So a craft beer boom, a whiskey/brown spirits boom, and then you generally get a cleared spirit boom and a flavored spirit boom. So you almost have to wonder whether or not some of these whiskey producers are just getting ahead of the curve.
Yeah, right. They know that.
Like, yep. True. Traditionally, it goes in a bit of a cycle. The craft beer boom this time around was a lot longer than the normal cycle traditionally. So one can kind of guess the whiskey one may be the same as well. But the uptake was a lot quicker, which probably social media and just the fact that, trends spread a lot quicker.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, I'm not even a som. I'm just a freaking nerd. Come on.
Bunch of nerds.
Yeah, I mean, gin's going kind of crazy here in terms of distilleries.
Yeah, because you're having the same problem as we are here, where juniper is in like high demand and it's getting hard to get a hold of.
I don't know, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, no, there are juniper shortages starting to crop up.
Really?
Yeah,
that's interesting. I'm actually going to a gin festival Sunday week, which should be pretty interesting. I've not dipped my toes into the industry world for anything outside of whiskey in general, really. So that should be fun.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Oh man, the beer's trying to get me.
So, hang on, what beer is it? What? Oh, is it just your own homemade? Isn't it?
There's APA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't drink a lot of beer these days, but
you got to put those mash tuns to use when you're not making whiskey.
Dude, I've got a stack of ingredients sitting over there. It's a freaking stack that I was supposed to at least get half of them fermenting over Christmas, and for a few different reasons it never happened. So I'm behind, man. I need to put myself to work.
Jeez, I'll start looking at it some time off, and I'll come help you.
Dude, you come visit. What was that, like, I don't know, 4 months ago or something?
Slacking.
I know. Tell me about it. Actually,
I mean, you're basically neighbors already. Like, what's the hold up?
You get too quick to judge, Brad. You were supposed to come. That was like 3 months ago, and you're like, "Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow." What's the problem?
Sure.
That was 3 months ago.
The commute is slightly longer for me, though.
I'm just saying. You could have been here in 24 hours.
Something like that, yeah.
And bizarrely, we did work it out. It was easier was it like $1,000 cheaper if you went via Brisbane?
Something like that.
Like,
yeah, it was
flights. Weird. Yeah, flights from Canada to New Zealand, direct.
Flights from Canada to anywhere are weird a lot of the time.
Astronomical. Go via.
Well, you can fly direct to New Zealand from Austin now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, that's not a cheap flight for you to get down there, though, is it, Brad?
No. And there's no direct flights from Ottawa to there either.
Oh, God.
It's very weird.
Imagine you could do LAX, right? But whoever wants to fly through LAX.
Nobody on Earth.
No.
Mark from still in Canada is still waiting for you to get down to Canada, Jesse. So whenever that happens.
Oh, is Mark here?
What's up, Mark? Yes. Sorry, still in Canada is Mark. Yeah.
I know, dude. I know. And I am plotting and planning.
Excellent.
Jesse, September, about 2 weeks before the ball, I should be at Brad's house.
Oh.
Wink.
All right, let's see. So I'm going to sit on them, and you're going to steal the rest of the 32.
Yeah, I'll go your halves with
That's
what's left.
fine.
Yeah.
You don't. I'll just
there'll be none of it left by then. Anyway.
I'll just pour it. It's fine.
But it's so much more fun.
It's true.
If we can jack it.
Yeah. And besides, it goes to our cultural past if we steal it.
Yeah. Well, your past.
Fair. A little racist, but fair.
Hang on a second, Jesse. Where were you born again?
I get to claim either, depending on the situation.
I see. That's how it is. Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Cairns.
And he doesn't mean beer cans either, guys.
No.
He could have been. Like, he could have been the most awesome bottle of, can for it.
I'm switching over to a little bit of Flaming Heart now. Just
Ooh.
I don't even know what that is.
It's
Dude.
slightly fancy.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Compass Box blend of peated and unpeated stuff. I'm not sure exactly. It's probably listed on here what it is or where to find it on the website. Yeah, it's not on the bottle in this case, but
don't they kind of generally play the keep away game where it actually came from?
No, the opposite.
No.
Compass Box is extremely clear, like to a fault.
Oh, really?
They actually mess with the the TTB, the SWA, and all of the legal authorities, trying to get as much information out as possible.
Oh, right.
Even when it's not necessarily legal for them to say where it's from, it's well, we can't tell you what distillery it's from, but here are the coordinates to pretty much where it's from.
So it was. What was one of the stories that they had on the back? They basically listed the GPS coordinate in a story. A mythical place from where a thing that could be found at blah.
Yeah, right.
They're extremely. They've got the 3-year-old deluxe, which is a blend of a whole bunch of ancient stuff that they list, and then basically a teaspooning of some 3-year-old nonsense, just to make fun of the age requirement labeling laws and stuff. Compass Box is an interesting company.
I've been looking for anything and everything from Compass Box.
So you should start getting some, because Dan Murphy's is now basically stocking almost the entire range, which means in theory, being the logistic supply chain, you should be starting to get some soon.
That'd be cool, man. That'd be really cool. Because I've heard just random things about it. I've heard a lot of people that are really into whiskey say that they do just a really good job of the actual spirit, which intrigues.
They do, yeah.
But
I've only had one so far that I don't enjoy, and it's because I very much don't like the primary note in it. I might very well be a good quality, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, right. And that specific flavor is something that you're just not into.
Exactly. Yeah, it's called Orangery, and it's basically orange and clove, super dominant. And I don't really like either of those flavors, so I don't like it all that much.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it's fair enough. But basically everything else has been great.
Yeah. Oh man, if we can get it, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So
lately, I don't know why. I've not really looked into it too much in New Zealand.
I believe Master of Malt has most of it.
Yeah, right.
Which of course you can get because we live in a place where you can ship alcohol.
How dare you?
I know, it's wonderful.
Dare you, Jeremy?
Yeah, that $60 shipping fee is kind of is always kind of from buying anything.
That's when you have to buy extras.
Yeah. It's the same price to ship 3 or 4 things, probably, right? So you got to get more.
So
it's just too because I'm pretty new to the, just buying whiskey. So it's sort of I could do that, or I could just buy the stuff that I can get here and get an extra bottle.
Or at $190 before shipping Australian, we could just go to Brad's house and drink his.
Come on over. Anytime. Got a spare room and plenty of couches and things.
Well, I guess we're topping and tailing, Jeremy.
It's all right.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the ball next year. I'm not planned that far out yet, to be honest.
So my aspiration, hopes, and what I've put a fair chunk away for already is up to Brad's and then possible road trip down to the ball via Cult HQ and a couple of distilleries. Hopefully spend a bit of time at Iron Root.
Yep.
Have you been there before, dude?
No, I have never been in the US other than for a tech flight when I worked at Ansett.
Oh well, I thought you'd.
Yeah, no. I've done all of Asia, most of Europe. I've not done any of North America.
Oh well.
Yeah,
Iron Root is freaking cool, man. Absolutely. They just like not even by persuasion, but just by being in their presence, they completely changed my opinions on like 3 different things, and it's but in terms of what I'm probably going to do with the rest of my life, that might be pretty profound. And
nice.
And you know, it's not because they're amazing at something specific. It's not because they preached anything. It was just because they've just got an aura of awesomeness about themselves and about the place. So yeah, if you can get there, or anyone else is listening, go hang out.
Yeah. Well, see, Robert
happens to be freaking awesome too. So
yeah.
They're all right.
I've got a bottle of Icor sitting at the Holidays at the moment with my name on it, literally. So,
oh, nice.
Already paid and put away, and yeah, Robert's been on a couple of hangouts and streams, posts. He's just an awesome dude.
That is chill, eh?
Yeah,
people. Yeah, very cool. The first Texas whiskey I ever had was in the lovingly referred to Murder Hotel with Josh and Gretchen. The messages we were getting from Gretchen as they were rocking up to the hotel were priceless.
We're going to die. We're dying here. This is our last day. Like, if you don't hear from us, call someone. Like, this is bad.
And Josh, at all, dude. I don't like. I knew none of you guys then. I don't even know how I got put in. I can't even remember how that happened. Like how
we used to have this really active member who used to have like cinematography and production values and stuff. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, he got busy with whatever some new project, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know, but I know that they were massively excited to catch up with you and do some stuff.
Oh, it was awesome. It was amazing. And the first thing they poured me was Iron Root. And I mean, the whole premise of doing it was, you know, what's the deal with Texas whiskey? And I don't know what I was in for, dude. I had no idea. And that blew my mind. The next night, though, I came in late, and I ended up. I mean, I guess if you talk like a Kiwi or an Australian in America, people just want to talk to you sometimes, especially if they're bored. You know, oh, you're not from here. You must not be crazy. Let's talk. And it was the night manager I was hanging out with, and he was telling me, oh, yeah, like 2 nights ago, dude, I got up, I heard some funny noises in the night, and there was like 6 casings here in the parking lot. You know, like the night before that, the cops turned up, and there was a balaclava with a Glock and an extra clip in it left in the room. It was like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have stayed in this hotel.
Maybe.
So you know,
twice, man. I just walked in. I was like, yeah, this place is cool.
Yikes.
No, Josh and Gretchen did well though. They didn't. I didn't know for months afterwards that they felt that way. About
the Murder Hotel, yeah, and when Josh who's normally pretty chill and unflappable, he's just like, "Yep, we're gonna die." There was no Gretchen's overreacting or anything. He's like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna
die." That's right.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It all worked out. It was fine.
Yeah,
good. And the video looked great, so it didn't look at all Murder Hotel. Well, it was
that was Josh was saying that was a lot of you, like setting up the room and making it like a fantastic little stage and shit, like moving the wardrobe or some shit. And
I may have disassembled their hotel room.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know what happened. I think
you moved something so that you had a bench basically to stand behind. Yeah, but one of those must have been like this much room between the bench and the wall, and then you and Josh.
Oh yeah. And neither Josh or I are exactly small humans, so
You're both petite butterflies. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I got home. I can't remember what I think it was the one, because I drove everywhere on that trip. But I think the night before I was drinking. No, I don't know. I can't remember.
Is that the moment that you realize that, hey, wait, it's not 0.05. These people are crazy. Let's go for it.
No, like I set the room up the night before, drunk, and then woke up in the morning and went, oh, this is worse than it was when I started again. So I was still, moving shit and throwing shit around when they turned up. But yeah, no, it worked out well, man. It was good. It was good. That may have been the first time I ever recorded with someone else, come to think of it. Which is
we'll claim that as a cask strength thing.
Not a you take
it? Sure, yeah. No, definitely. Full credit.
He's not here to claim anything else. It's all good.
So you're right, dude. The in terms of mash bill, this would now be 25% polenta, 25% corn. No, 25% polenta, 50% corn, 40% corn, something like that. And then the aggregate is barley and just like turo, and something else. There's a little bit of oats or something like that in it. But it's
so it was a good blend.
Yeah, I would. I feel like it needs something astringent. It's just kind of sweet now, with no finish. I don't know. Like when you get to that point, it's kind of like, do you try and dial it back the other way to balance it, or do you just go with it? You know.
Well, and the hard thing is I'm literally just going, well, I know what that should taste like. Oh. I know what he's saying, describing. These things should work.
Well, it's crazy, right? Because when you're doing anything like this, especially working in the, I'm sure you had the same problem with, the coding and sort of side of things, Brad, or working in any creative field. It's like you've got one person who's the operator or the person that's doing it, and then the other person who wants what you're doing. And one person takes the ideas out of their head and sort of puts them here and tries to articulate them. And then the other person takes this random articulation and puts them into their head. It's like playing Chinese whispers. By the time you...
Yeah.
There's like two completely different ideas going on, and you think you're saying the same thing.
Although saying Chinese whiskers was beautifully fitting.
Yeah.
I cut them off. Sorry, dude. I'm wondering if we steer into it.
Oh, yes.
Do it.
I'll go get my goon sack of port. I'll be right back.
A goon sack of port. I did not.
I know it wasn't, but that sounds horribly racist.
I don't even know where that saying came from, dude. I mean, I don't know. This is what it means now.
Crazy.
That's good. I need to play with blending more, man. I've almost not done it at all, which is kind of silly because I got these random jars of all sorts of stuff sitting all over the place here.
You really should. That would be some fun videos, just experimenting with random blends. What you could get away with like super simple blends of homemade stuff. Like that would be cool.
Yeah.
Just to watch the experiments happen.
So I missed something, but I can kind of guess that it was basically a poor man's finishing flavors style blendy thing.
If you mean I just tipped some port in the glass, yes.
Yes.
Sure. I'm gonna get some. You know what, dude? That would be something cool for us to do if either of you come.
Sure.
We're just saying to like it's kind of silly. I haven't done any like real blending of the different random spirits I've got to put together.
We could Brad, just name a time. Because you've got the longer flight. Like at the end of the day,
sure.
At the end of the day, it's 4
I'll be there in like
swimming.
a day and a half. Let's there we go.
All right, dude. I'll cancel the gin.
Because
we'll have to work that out, but it would we'd have to work out the timing, but we definitely need to do that.
Because you are a certified level 3 sommelier who doesn't give a shit.
That is technically accurate, yes.
Yeah. But like when you look at the old
share spirits with anyone, unless they are a expert who's helping me tell me if the spirits are as they should be.
Yeah.
So we'd be legal.
And I'm Australian, so they just assume I'm going to steal it anyway. Because I was at the 70s Macallan versions, they used to use a sherry syrup added to give it extra bit of a boost and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting, so getting a dash of port or maybe a reduction of sherry and stuff like that, just to add to see how potentially you could do a layman's finishing.
100%, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that video that I did with the guys, with Daniel and Rex, was essentially that. I had one spirit that I wanted to play with, and I took a bunch of stuff, which is actually why I got this bottle. And the sherry that's...
You've done it the wrong way, man. You've done it the wrong way.
Yeah. But it was pretty amazing seeing what they did to that spirit, both of them, and to be honest, me too, because I'd never done that before. I'd never just laid out 10 different things on the bench and tried to mix them. I'm trying to make essentially single barrels. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that's one thing that Josh speaks highly of is the Balcones master blending program thing that they do, so Balcones, I think it's 3 or 4 times a year. Where's Josh when you need him? They will open up the room with all of the samples and stuff like that, and you can make your own blend. So they run you through the fundamentals and the basics, and then go, have at it. Here is a whole selection of different Balcones to go for it. You make your own blend. They will bottle it for you, like a couple of bottles or whatever. Yeah. But just that ability to get in there and mess around and stuff like that would just be, yeah.
Well, and to do with their guidance too, right? Like it's not just
it is precisely. Yep.
I did the trail event with them.
Yep.
And that was freaking amazing, man. That was another thing that professionally I learned a lot from, both in terms of the event side of things and the actual whiskey side of things. But they did it in an interesting way. They're saying normally when you do things like that, you have, if you've got lots of people that start with 5 or 6 different groups, everyone will start with the same 10 whiskeys. Each group will make their own blend. Everyone tries that blend. They pick the top 2, and then you develop those. You just kind of keep going like that. And the problem being is that you get to the end of the day, and there's going to be, on average, maybe 10, 15 people that had nothing to do with actually finishing the spirit, Yeah. I was like, that's a really good idea, because the whole point of the event is to give people kind of inclusion, right? Yep. So they did it differently. They said, right, you're on the French oak, you're on the new American oak, you're on the secondhand barrels, you're on the finishing, and everyone picked a barrel that they preferred from those. We put them together and kind of went from there.
Nice. Cool.
That was pretty interesting, man. But being in the presence of Jared doing that stuff was,
Jared, cool. Speaking of nerds, when it comes to blending and stuff, giant nerd guy. Oh, he's great though.
For half a moment there, Brad, I thought you were going to add a guest, and I was looking on. There's no one waiting in the green room.
Speaking of Jared, here he is.
Oh, that's hilarious, man. This got too sweet.
So the grants, the issue with the grants, it's not really an issue. It's a little bit bright and sparkly.
In terms of kind of new makey?
Yeah.
Just shiny?
Sure. Yeah.
And sorry, when I say shiny, I mean like moonshiny.
Yeah. It's you get that from some of the cheaper blends.
Yeah. Just a little bit thin, a little bit piercing with the alcohol.
Yeah, but the port really mellows it out.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, you throw sugar at anything and it mellows it out, right?
Yeah. Will,
this floki is definitely not bright and shiny, but it is tasty.
That is it. I've been looking around for something that's got a whole lot of wood tannin to just drop a little couple of drops in here. That would be perfect.
Si, I don't know what time it is in New Zealand. It's either 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I don't know.
It is almost 7 o'clock in New Zealand.
Or 7 o'clock. Yeah, maths is hard.
Close enough.
Wait, you got daylight savings, haven't you?
Sure.
You don't know anymore.
We have daylight savings in the summer, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's summer down there at the moment. Queensland, where I'm at, doesn't have daylight savings because we've got enough daylight. We don't need to save it.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Seeing as I don't have any wood tannins close by, I guess I'm going to go with smoke instead.
Just chuck a bit of Russian caravan tea in there and go for it.
Sure. Yeah. There you
go. No.
My camera has decided to be drunk, I guess.
Yep.
God fuzzy.
So yes, it is Friday for Jesse. Very much Friday. Has been all day for him. Yeah.
So basically what happened is I said a while ago, yeah, let's get together and do this. And then these guys very kindly tried to make it happen multiple times. And I was a fucking diva. And I said, unless you give me my green jelly beans.
Sure. It took a while to ship them, so, you know.
And I've got a slot between 6 o'clock and 7. What's the time now? 7 o'clock. 7:01. No. Yeah, it's been a pain in the ass, man.
And originally, like the day that I had Robert on, that was the day Jesse was supposed to be on. Things happened. We had Vito on instead.
And then he had, so you're going to do it later, and then Robert had to do it earlier. And I mean, that would have been awesome. I would have loved to have been on.
Hey, look, it can happen. Robert is fantastic for if we give him enough notice and he doesn't have anything important on. The man makes himself available. He is an absolute gentleman.
True. He's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, I had an idea on something that I want to do, and I ran it. Oh, that's way better. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm excited now.
I haven't told anyone this, but what the hell? Like, you keep telling me no one's watching, right? So
it's fine. No way at all. It's only like our second or third busiest stream that we've ever done.
It's 16 of my fakest accounts.
Well, I'm thinking, like if people do come and watch this, then that's cool. I would love, people to cross over and come and watch this. But the general idea is that I want to create a database of tasting notes for different things, right? So in the beer world, it's really easy to jump on any freaking homebrew store and say, I want to use Golden Promise. What is Golden Promise going to do as a base malt to my beer? What flavor is it going to add? You go to a homebrew store and say, I'm distilling. What flavor is Golden Promise going to impart on my whiskey? And they'll go, fuck knows. Have a look at what the beer does. It might do something like that. Like that's literally
and it's hard because not all of the volatiles that you find in a beer make it through the distillation.
No. Yeah. And some of the ones that really stand out might get held back. Some of the ones that are muted might get pushed through more. The more people I talk to, it seems like, especially with specialty malts, percentages really change things. So if you put something, especially like chocolate malt, that you use 1% into a beer and then distill it, it'll add a certain flavor. So you think, okay, I like that flavor. I'll add 4% to get more of it. And then the flavor totally changes. It changes something different, So there's all sorts of squirrely things that can happen. So the idea is to basically crowdsource it, to get everyone that's into this hobby, whether they be professional or, doing it at home, wherever they happen to be doing it, to go and distill over, whatever it happens to be. 4 months, we focus on base malt. So go out and distill with as many different base malts as you can. Report back to us. Give us your findings, both, like metrics that you can get in terms of gravity additions and all that sort of stuff. but also just the flavors that come through. And sorry, long story short, the reason I'm talking about this is I mentioned it to those guys, and they were like, "Yeah, let's have a talk." It's just it's crazy, man. That's so approachable.
Because when I was listening to the podcast that you did with the Licorice Brothers, I'd always sort of gone like thinking of doing like the baking the breads to see what flavors and see how that relates. And then, Robert's already doing it. And it's like, bam, it's...
Dude, I was supposed to drive home after meeting them. You know why?
I've already been told that when I visit Iron Root, I'm not driving anywhere.
That's not
So
there was 2 reasons I didn't. One is once we'd got everything out of the way, all the recording, I started asking geeky questions. Hey, I've been thinking about pitching an English yeast for the flavors, but I know it won't attenuate. So, what do you think of the idea of pitching English yeast and then repitching something else afterwards to dry it out? Oh, yeah, we've done it. Come try this barrel.
Right. And I can see that. It's like, oh, yeah, we've come back into the barrel warehouse for just a minute. We'll just try 1 or 2 things.
Dude, every question I had.
You see the clock, like, with the hours going by. 6 hours later.
we're not going to let Mark go. Mark has to stay.
Are you off, Mark? Yeah. I'm sorry, dude. I am serious, Mark. I do want to get to Canada. I need to get there. And I've been talking to a couple of your countrymen that I'm not sure if you do or do not know. But they've been telling me some interesting things to go and see as well. So, yeah, I'm dead serious. I need to get up there. For those of you that don't know, Mark is up and running at Silver Fox Distillery, which is pretty freaking cool. And
you need to bring a Doctor Who mug, and he will give you whiskey samples.
I'm sure.
I just made it up, but I'm sure it'll go. Like,
that seems right. It seems fine. That's absolutely legally binding. It's totally on board.
Mark's another one, a great one for coming on and chatting with us as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
I watched the last one you did. Actually, that's a lie. I didn't watch all of it. I watched some of it.
Shame.
That's it, Brad. Don't watch all of Jesse's video.
You're out.
Yeah.
Wait, did you cut me off?
Never.
Never. Yeah, but seriously, is Mark still here or is he gone? I can't see him.
I think Mark may have gone, and Lisa is probably still watching.
That's right. I don't know when they're bottling anything. I'm assuming they're doing some white spirits first.
Yeah, so they had their nog shine that and did all of that, and I think they're doing. He had 4 or 5 different things already on the go last time I spoke to him.
Yeah, they're working on a lot of experimental things that they can get on the shelves right away because like their whiskey has to wait 3 years in Canada, right? So they got to do some other things for a while.
Yeah,
but they will be at least barreling things and doing other experiments.
I think they had two gins because Lisa likes a gin.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I would. I'd love to get up there and make some videos in that place, man. There's a lot of eye candy to be had.
Absolutely. And Teresa, yes, you do. And let me know when that happens.
Yes. And then take me with you.
Come on over. Anytime.
It's only like a $2,000, excursion. It's all good.
It'll work out. It's fine.
I donated all my travel money to the bushfire relief.
Uh-huh.
No, I did $2,500 on.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That is. I don't even know how to relate to living with that sort of weight on your head.
Yeah. So I was SES for 12 years, so I actually did the floods. I was a group leader and did Cyclone Yazi as well, and just. Man, like floods are fucked, but fire is final. Like those guys working that, hats off.
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
It's an interesting point, isn't it? Because water is a unstoppable force, but in and of itself, it doesn't fucking kill you.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Unless you're stupid. But yeah.
Well, yeah, there is that. But
yeah.
I think
it can cause a lot of damage and things, but it's not quite to the same level as just lighting everything on fire.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you can generally sort of escape. Like if you get into a bad situation with water, as long as you play safe, as long as you try and keep your head around you can generally get out of it relatively fine. But fire's final.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, and especially when you just add literally kindling everywhere.
Yeah.
And then winds.
I like that plan, Teresa.
Yes. Oh, Dr. John would be awesome.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool guy. I got to meet him very briefly.
Sai, I am actually very lucky, and I don't have any Bernie shit near me at all. I'm very lucky. I was in Sydney like 2 days ago though, and that's a bit fucked up.
My wife's from LA, so, and my brother-in-law's in San Diego. So I feel you, man. And I was just saying the other day too to one of my buddies, even if you live in a place where if you live there long enough, you're going to live through or you're not going to live through fires. Just that in and of itself is pretty freaking crazy without the actual fire. Do you know what I mean? Like just living with it hanging over your head. Today might be the day. Yep.
And we don't, like, culturally, we don't have basements and bunkers and crap to go hide in.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
It's just not something that we do. So
So your option is run the fuck away and pick up whatever the fuck's left when you come back. I mean,
and the reason we don't have basements before anyone asks is because spiders and fuck spiders
and snakes.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Every animal would go live there, so that when you went to go hide in the bunker, you'd just be murdered by animals.
Yep.
There'd be a wombat with a switchblade, just
This is our basement now. Get out.
Oh, dude. Well, I mean, wombats, even without a switchblade, are kind of scary.
Oh, man, they're dead.
They look cute and cuddly, but they're basically a brick with legs.
Yep.
They're more like a tank. They're
one of the few.
A fucking bulldog.
They're one of the few animals you hit with a car and it just goes, well, fuck you, and you've got no death.
He's joking. But it's funny because it's true. All right, I'm empty again, so I need to pour something, and I can't be bothered blending, so...
Just drink port. No.
I'm actually feeling merry. I didn't think I drunk that much, but...
Just don't tell your wife about Mary. It's all good.
It's fine. If you're getting a refill, I'm going to need more water to keep this going. So I will be back in 1 second.
I just realized we've done over an hour already. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, 1 hour and 8 minutes.
Yep.
So YouTube talk, Jesse.
All right, real talk. All right, let me get some sober up, dude. I don't know how we're going to be hit with the serious stuff.
Oh no, it's not that serious. Don't stress. StreamYard. If you ever go to do live, StreamYard is a fantastic, just much more user friendly than OBS.
Right. Okay.
You can throw some stuff up there very simply. Really easy overlays. You can throw Millhouse on there if you're confused and shit at a click of a button. Life is good. It's
pretty cool, man, and it's user friendly from this side too, right? Because with OBS, you would use Zoom or something, right, to get people to come in.
Yeah, I mean, Google
Hangouts,
you used to have the problems every now and then, but this just seems to be really. It's not that expensive either, Brad. StreamYard month, what, $20?
It was a couple. I just got like the lifetime thing. It was like $250 or something.
You've committed this to a lifetime of streaming.
That's right. Maybe it was yearly. I don't know.
Is this
a couple $100?
What?
But I found water and I found Octomore 9.3, so I figured I might as well
Awesome, Brook
dig
Live.
into that a little bit.
You're in the fancy stuff. I just finished that off. This bottle was actually kind of special to me. When I hit 10,000 subscribers, I went out and bought this. And that was.
Hang on a second. What have we got? We've got 1,200-ish.
That's what I said. Jesse was slumming it coming on.
I can't for the life of me figure out why that. I mean, you guys have grown pretty. How long have you been going now?
Just what, 15 months?
Something like that.
Yeah,
not quite a year and a half.
So when you look at the metrics and everything, I think we were one of the fastest channels to get to 1,000, discounting like channels that had split off. So obviously you don't include Whiskey Biscuits because that's an offshoot of the Whiskey Tribe, which is an offshoot of the Tower and whatnot. So discounting those, it's like we were the fastest to 1,000, and then we just sort of like, we're fine now.
Yeah, I was going to say you guys grew super quick, man, especially considering you're not creating videos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that it's just this, that it's Hangout. But I think that's kind of cool. That's kind of rad because I'm guessing your the engagement and the kind of the buy-in that the people that do watch have is.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a core. Like, there's people that show up basically every stream to hang out.
So our engagement is pretty much close to someone who'd been watching a channel for 3 years religiously. So our engagement and our retention is really, really good.
Yeah.
Our overall numbers are a little bit higher than what other channels of roughly the same size. Not just in whiskey either. Like if you look at other channels, we have a higher watch, number than the equivalent. Yeah. It's just that the growth side of things, because we're not creating.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of a semi-conscious choice, kind of a situation choice. Vito's got a few things happening in his life, and he was probably the most prolific reviewer for a while. Josh is doing other things, and I don't think Josh has got the time to even sit down and do editing and stuff with all of his other ventures anyway.
Probably not.
So
oh, right, man. Like the recording isn't bad.
No, it's the editing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't make videos much, and if they are, they're very lightly edited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ditto.
I mean, I probably spend 15 hours a week editing, and it is freaking like it's.
Yikes.
I would love to go to 2 videos a week every week. That would be awesome, dude. I don't. You're
in that really awkward point as well. Whereas if you had double the sub base, it would be feasible to hire an editor to take half of that load, even if it's an offshore editor. But you're not at that point yet. But to get to that point, you need to do 15 to 30 hours of content creation basically a week. And
actually, to be fair, it's not that bad anymore. It's probably more like 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, but you're professional. You've got it down pat. You've got a photography background.
You know what you're doing. It would take us forever to edit that much video.
The funny thing is, dude, it's all the photography stuff that I cheap out on. Like all the stuff that I know better with. I don't white balance. Fuck that shit. That takes like an extra 4 minutes.
So that's when, who was it? Have you ever seen any of Guy Gowan's stuff?
The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I've got nothing to place it to.
He's a rep for Photoshop and Apple, or he was for a very long time. But he came from printing and then he did photo editing.
Dude with the glasses, short dark hair.
Yeah, always speaks with no shoes on. I've been to a couple of his talks.
I taught myself Photoshop.
Yep.
Through his videos, and about 3 months into learning Photoshop, I watched a video with him saying, basically, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that in Photoshop. Huh, that's really interesting. Look at that." And then it was at that point in time that I realized that no one fucking knows Photoshop. Like, there's no such thing as a Photoshop expert. Like, it's just Anyway, sorry.
Google is the Photoshop expert. I want to do something. How the heck do I do that?
Well, see,
30 seconds later, I'll go, okay, great.
I always liked his whole method of, you're going to do these actions all the freaking time, so just make a droplet and drop all your files into it. Why do the same shit over and over again? I wish I knew where some of my droplets were.
Dude, with a freaking, I know we're getting way into the weeds here, but with Creative Cloud now, when you get updated every year, I lose all my freaking actions. It's
What?
Oh, jeez.
That seems like a slight oversight. It's like,
Yeah,
hey,
it's
you're
rude.
getting too confident and too angry.
Yeah, we gotta cut
Right.
start again. Oh, and by the way, you got 4 new features that you don't even know what they are. Oh, dude. All right, you were telling a story, and I rudely.
Oh no, just that whole thing where, because I'm color or slightly colorblind, so all of my photos when I did photography, just nothing is color corrected, because why color correct if you don't know if your blue is blue? What's the point, right?
That would make it difficult, I think. Yeah.
Right. I haven't even really. So
I love your yellow walls, though. They're great.
Oh, my yellow walls. I got my new door today, so life is good.
Very nice.
Yeah, just having the ability to just offload that workload that you constantly do, that was just a drudgery.
Well, I mean, even or the opposite, dude. Like, get to the point where I can justify working 3 days a week,
or wait till the kids are old enough, and then just sweatshop out that editing, man.
Sure.
But, I mean, the problem is, though, that a lot of the editing is creating the story.
Yeah.
And the problem is that it's not just a story, it's a technical story. So if the editor doesn't understand what makes sense for distilling, they may put something together that completely they might completely discredit me without knowing they're discrediting me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard. Like, because if you were just making a story about, oh, I went into town and hired a Lamborghini and then hung out with a couple of models, and who gives a fuck, right? Like, you can get someone to make that sound awesome. Yeah.
But when you're going into the technical stuff, like removing shit out for brevity, you may inadvertently remove something important.
Exactly.
Right.
Or more often than not, I'll screw up and I'll forget to say something. So then in editing, I'm trying to like grab, if this is the timeline of what actually recorded, I'm grabbing a little bit from here, and then putting this over here, and then grabbing this and putting it here to make the timeline make sense in the video, even though it's. And
so there's 2 ways to solve this problem, Jesse. There's 2 ways. Become a near multimedia juggernaut like the modern Rogue, because those guys have that shit sorted, or just do nothing but live streams.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's a spectrum.
Problem solved.
Yeah. Dude, it was I was so jealous hanging out with those guys. When
I was jealous of you guys, because like that's one of the things that I really want to do, is just go there, and then there's you, there's the Colt, and all of you guys. Just apparently Lance was just having an absolute nerd out with the process.
Like, whenever I looked up from what I was doing, I'd look over and like look at people, and half of them would be sort of like, oh, well, this has been going on for an hour, whatever. And I'd catch Lance's ideas there, like.
I mean, he's a video guy, right? So like, he's done a lot of video editing. He was very curious about their whole setup, because it was a very strange concept to him, like how they shot everything and then spliced it together. It was very cool to watch the process happen.
Or just AVE everything. That dude is awesome.
They were super generous with me too, man. Like, they made me look like not a complete idiot, both by the lads themselves kind of guiding the episode, but also their post-production team.
Right.
They did a kick-ass job. But yeah, dude, when I first turned up, I asked them, oh, so, just out of interest, I'm going to throw some stuff up on Patreon and stuff. When do you think this video is going to air? And they both turned around and looked at their production guy and were like, I don't know, man. When is this going to come out? I was like, oh, screw you guys, man.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. They deal with
they have no idea. Once it's shot, it's someone else's problem. They find out like, oh yeah, it's going up, in a couple days or whatever. Once it's sorted.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing to see the setup that they've got. But Bryce and Brandon, John, the newer editor,
They're
good. They're good people. They know what they're doing.
His name in the 2019 wrap up. So,
Well, I mean, even just having that 3-camera setup like they did.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be because every time I do. So if I'm standing on this bar that you're looking at now, and
see, Jesse has a proper set. I mean, Brad has a set too, but he uses it to store shit. But
I mean, look at you, dude. You've got a like a lounger with a towel over the back of it.
It's a blanket. It's a super fuzzy, warm blanket.
Is that a cigar box, like a humidor sitting in front of it?
No, it's the advent calendar.
Just say yes.
Sure.
Super fancy.
Yeah, no, it's the
one.
Secret Spirits advent calendar, just sitting there like for no reason. Yeah, but yes, I could fairly easily record videos back in that corner, and I have done a few, but I'm lazy, so it hasn't happened very often.
Background, just where you are, dude.
Yeah.
I
do have to clean up a little bit because I am I'm sitting strategically in front of like a whole bunch of boxes and stuff. But,
I only just saw the boxes.
I'm super professional like that.
Hang on, Brad. Do you remember what bottles were on the barrel last time you shot a review?
No, but I could look at the video. It's fine. It's all recorded on the internet.
Because when is your next review?
It'll happen when it happens. I can almost guarantee there will be a review this year.
Okay, so
it's still pretty early. I think I could probably squeeze one in.
As opposed to my junk shelf behind me, which has Kramer and the Queen.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's Kramer. The Queen.
Oh, yeah.
A random video card. A Speedo from a Land Rover.
Sure.
Yeah.
As one does, yeah.
Oh, hello, Floof. You go back to sleep.
A floof, sure.
And a floof, yep.
I still don't see a Wombat switchblade, though, dude.
They hide it, man. They have pouches. Backwards facing pouches at that.
Those things are fucked up, dude.
Oh dear.
Wombat. Are wombats the one with the square turds too? Is that?
Yeah, man. They shit dice.
Yeah, they're just weird. Just weird. Weird all around.
No, they eat root. Was it? They eat root and leaves. Yeah. What dog? Oh yes. Okay.
Floof.
Dude, this stuff is awesome.
Oh,
It is, yeah.
The classic,
Haven't had anything from them that I haven't enjoyed. They do, even the gin, and I don't really like gin.
I've never had their gin.
Yeah, the botanist. It's pretty good. It is tasty.
Yet Teresa is. Oh, hang on a second. This is the only problem. Is I do things on multiple screens.
It looks like the screens are freaking huge by the line of sight that I'm looking at.
Yeah, they are. There's a 27-inch monitor above the massive curved screen monitor. So, yes. But I'm a nerd, so I'm allowed, right? And
I'm going to say yes because it justifies my own insane monitor collection. So you're fine.
And she makes a very valid point. Canadians have moose and we have wombats.
It's true.
And they basically damaged very successfully a vehicle to the point of write-off, just at different points of the vehicle. Sure. One goes low, one goes high.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah, you don't want to be hitting a moose in a car. That's going to be a bad day.
Yeah, in New Zealand we've got parrots that are basically they form themselves into gangs and they fly around and fuck things up. If you park your car in the wrong place, you'll come back and all the sealant rubber around your windscreen will have been stolen. Or
Wow.
they may
Impressive.
actually take your wing mirror off.
That's actually impressive.
Oh yeah, they're crazy, dude. They take like roofing shingles off houses. You know, they just 30 of them will descend on the house and be like, "Oh, this looks like fun. We'll take it off and throw it on the ground," and then they piss off somewhere else. Yeah. We don't have them up here, but
Yeah.
I was going to say, is that another Australian import?
No. So if people don't know, and you probably won't, you're not Australian or New Zealand, or you've talked to a New Zealander. New Zealand's got no native mammals except for one bat. That's it. Fucking it. We've got like 2 spiders that will maybe hurt you, kind of like a bee if you're allergic to it.
And you've got like these massive freaking insects, like as big as your thigh.
The stickers.
The wetters and shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are straight up like dinosaur bugs. Pretty freaking cool. We have them living under a house, but yeah, there's nothing that'll hurt you. There's nothing that gives a shit.
All Blacks will hurt you. I used to play rugby. They will hurt you.
I believe it. Also, Ben Demon Hunter, I believe that would be accurate. Yeah, that wouldn't be a good time at all.
No.
I forgot I had this.
Oh, nice.
Connemara.
Connemara is tasty stuff.
Yep.
This was one of those things that kind of, when I first tried it, I went, oh, there's something to this whiskey thing that's not just, for want of a better word, wank. It's not just, come on, everyone should just drink Johnny Walker, and the reason you're not is because you're wanky. Like when I tried this, this was one of the first things that made me go, oh, I get it.
And that's, Connemara is one of those ones that really highlights that regions mean shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like, because I mean, less so for probably Jesse and myself, but I do sort of get this impression from a lot of American people where they think Scotch is a peated whiskey. Mm-hmm. Be that because Lafroig is such a popular whiskey and Ardbeg is just fucking delightful. But you don't sort of get that same mentality, at least, you know, in Australia and New Zealand. Scotch for us is this shit. You know, your blended Johnny Walkers and Grants and Black Douglas and all of that. And then your Irishes are always your Jamisons and shit like that. But we don't have that sort of that regional taste profile thing. We're generally pretty freaking cruisy when it comes to that stuff. But Connemara and all that, like that really highlights regions mean shit all. You know?
And pouring this?
Oh, yes.
Next to this?
Oh, geez, yeah.
Funny. Because like an Isla, an unpeated Isla with a peated Irish is... that's been kind of a joy to have them next to each other. Oh. And the funny thing is that a lot of when I drink this, I get a lot of what I'm still trying to figure out what is peat and what is not. Because when I drink this, I get a lot of the stuff that I think, or that I used to think was peat. If that makes sense.
Sure.
Kind of the briny, not briny, but hitting like the mouthfeel of
that
the briny.
That tarrowy, ropey sort of.
Yeah.
Same thing happens with the classic laddie from them. Like people think that that's peated all the time.
Yeah. This is the classic.
Oh, that's the okay.
Yeah, and that weird,
that's crazy.
kind of mouthfeel that I always thought was peat, but it's not a flavor. It's just a presence, I guess. I don't know. And then having it next to this, which has got none of that whatsoever, but it's got just the straight up smoke. It's
right.
So I wonder with the, because Teresa is saying once upon a time most Irish was peated from what she said.
Yes.
I've heard the same thing, but I also wonder how much of that is because peat was the dominant heat source, whether or not that pervaded into barrels of unpeated whiskey, so you had that tainting of the barrel, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it was the same in Ireland. I mean, that was definitely true in Scotland, right? It was. It wasn't that we tried to, or that they tried to smoke whiskey. It was that they were trying to heat the barley at the end of the malting process. to stop the growth cycle of the barley, rightly. And I just apparently I'm drunk, but yeah, and it just happened to be peat that they were cooking it with, no smoke.
I hope you're ready, Jesse. There's 10 more hours of this.
Not all of it is going to be broadcast, probably.
That's cool.
Will was saying, even Daniel said it was peated in the Modern Rogue video. What would Daniel know?
Yeah, it's super easy to like misunderstand that and get peated notes from like there's a lot of overlap in the sort
and
of
some of those malting floors, like that they did the malting in, are 200, 300, 400 years old, and when they've changed power sources, you're still getting that residual release of some of the oils, even though it may no longer be peat powered to stop the barley.
Never thought of that. That's interesting. Very interesting. I'm just thinking, seeing as we're going down this geekery of peat level, I'm gonna pour the. So
this is just to rub it in, isn't it? Because I can't have peat.
It is just to rub it in, 100%.
When I first tasted this was the first thing that I said, I want to fucking make that, and not clone it, but take the idea, like the concept of Connemara, and make it myself. So I made a peated Irish, and the peated Irish I've got has got all the funk and the crazy cheesiness and like borderline toe jam, crazy weird flavors, but very little of the smoke, which is funny because neither of these whiskeys have that funk.
Right.
You know, like the full-on vegetal craziness. I'm
So hey, Matt from Whiskey Crusaders is in. Sai, I think you mean terroir, which is the flavor of local. Yeah, there you go. Teresa is corrected. Terra Nova is a television series.
New Earth, I guess, would be.
Yeah, it basically is New Earth. Terroir is. Teresa's got it. TERROIR, or Tango Echo Romeo Oscar India Romeo.
Sure.
For those who do phonetics, yeah. And that's basically the local conditions influencing the flavor. So it's the local flavor, and that can be the terroir of where it's been distilled and brewed or whatever. More and more of the beers towards the end of the craft boom, we're doing like a natural yeast ferment. So it was just the open top fermenters where it was legal to do so because health reasons. But it's still big in Germany where they use like the local yeasts that are in the air. So the beers will change because the yeast changes according to the environment and everything outside.
Yeah. To the point, dude, I think there's a pretty famous story about that. It might have been Grand Cru. Not Grand Cru. Can't remember the Duvel, really. One of the places they walked in there and there was like black mold all over the place, like a foot above the liquid that they're fermenting. Yep. And they started cleaning it all up, and the beer turned to shit. It was all right. It was stuff cold. Yeah, it was crazy, man. All right.
You're not drunk, Brad. Don't lie. You don't have a pizza pocket.
I'm not drunk yet, but listen, I've loosened my tie. I'm relaxing. We're going to get there.
So for those who weren't watching, when he went away before, he was actually changing his shirt from the done-up tie shirt to the loosened-off shirt.
Why,
Jesse is wondering whether or not...
Don't ruin the magic, Jared.
I'm really confused now.
Ruining the magic.
Jesse, just remember I'm a shit-stirring bastard, so it may be complete lies.
Yeah.
Since we're going all nerdy on Bricklottie, I'll open up some MCO1.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. So Ben Demon Hunter was about to start watching Aquavita's live. Is Roy live streaming at the moment?
Is he?
Or I didn't think so. That would be a very odd hour for Roy to do things.
I think that was earlier today.
Oh, earlier today. Yep.
Like watching it, the recording of
it. Oh,
yeah,
he streamed that 6 hours ago. There we go.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's okay. So it's
Everyone's telling us these things.
Yep.
I'm sitting here with 3 whiskeys poured in front of me now, lads, and
Perfect.
this is your fault.
Okay.
This is exactly as we planned. The months leading up to this moment.
Yep.
There was no plan.
Shh.
The plan was whiskey. Full stop.
I think the plan between me and Jesse was, let's do a live stream and just get drunk and bullshit, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, let's do that.
And then I looked at my roster and I thought, yeah, fuck it, I can come in after work. It's all good. That works out well.
And no one else was crazy enough to be up as late as Brad.
It's fine.
Well, this is Brad normal.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah. Hey,
As long as I don't have to be a parent in the morning, then this is my normal state.
I mean, I'll randomly check my phone at 11, 12 o'clock at night, which is what? Like 2 o'clock in the morning? Like 4 o'clock in the morning for you? And there'll be random updates from Brad. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Like what I see that you're around, like, well, there's a hangout going. It's 3 a.m. here, but like it's a decent time there, I think. Like, what are you up to?
I think when it's really bad is when Christina goes, "Are you guys still going?" Jumps in the street, tells us off for still going, drives to work whilst we're still drinking, calls us idiots, and then has her lunch break and says, "You should really go to bed."
And she would be right. That's not, I mean, but it's a good time. So,
It is a good time. And to be fair, like it's pretty amazing that there's a community that's formed around this while we can do, and B, that we've got the technology to actually not just be writing each other fucking letters.
Sure.
Post,
Or sending pictures that take forever over ICQ to load.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I left work today and my boss was like, "What are you doing for the weekend?" I'm like, "Well, tonight I'm getting drunk on the internet." Wait, what? Like, yeah,
sure.
No, you heard me right.
Yep. Seems right.
Ben, the country that Jesse is from is Australia, but then he moved to New Zealand.
He's trying to claim me as his own, just like they claimed fucking Pavlova, Lamingtons. Can't think of anything else now because
we'd claim split ends. We claim split ends as well.
You did, yeah.
And Russell Crowe sometimes, depending on how much of a shit.
You can fucking have him.
We claimed Dave Dobbin, but he was just too New Zealand. It was just awesome.
You admitted it. There you go.
The two good things to come out of New Zealand: the song from Foot Rot Flats and Foot Rot Flats.
Yeah,
sheesh.
Fair enough. Yeah, Brad's like, what?
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I do enjoy a lot of New Zealand comedy. So at least there's that.
Dude, we've got a local soda in New Zealand called L&P, and
that's great. It is awesome shit with whiskey too. Like,
I have had L&P actually.
Yeah.
And they market themselves as world famous in New Zealand, which is funny when you're a kid and you're like, oh, that's weird. And then when you grow up and realize that no one gives a fuck about New Zealand outside of New Zealand unless it's the All Blacks or Hobbits.
And to be fair, there is a portion of the world that probably think New Zealand is the 8th state of Australia.
Dude, I have had it multiple times. How long does it take you to drive to Sydney?
Right.
Multiple times.
Many hours and a submarine would be a while.
There was a bloke in the 70s that did drive in a Volkswagen Beetle from I think it was Dunedin to Sydney. Like he had it all rigged out so it did float, had a little outboard on it. Went over.
Really?
Yeah. Dude was nuts.
Yeah, Flight of the Conchords, Teresa is saying, yeah.
Yeah, Flight of the Conchords, yes.
And what we do in the shadows,
Yep. The Hobbit, all shot in Australia.
is doing just crazy awesome stuff. Like,
New Zealand he's from Australia as well. We just claim everything.
If you guys haven't seen Jojo Rabbit yet, you should.
Jojo Rabbit is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
definitely.
simultaneously ridiculously funny and full of New Zealand humor, and also simultaneously entirely
And it doesn't.
up.
It doesn't pull punches.
It's super messed up in a great way.
Yep. It doesn't pull punches, but it doesn't hide anything either. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Doesn't explain anything. Just doesn't hide anything. It's great.
Yep. And it's also not, because so often with movies like that, right? We're going to have here's the comic section. We're gonna break it down and let people off the edge for a little second, and then we'll get real again. And that's just like everything jumbled. I don't know. That's awesome. It was fun.
Yep. Ellen P is basically Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi. I was just thinking, Portia de Rossi, Ellen P. Don't worry.
Sure.
Little known fact is that she's bought 40% of all of New Zealand.
What, Portia de Rossi or Ellen DeGeneres?
Ellen DeGeneres, yeah.
Yep.
And
what 30% is owned by Peter Jackson, and then the rest is on Sarah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Sure.
Once again, real talk. I actually, for day job reasons, I met with some Fonterra people yesterday, who happen to be the guys that are in charge of looking after the research, testing, and production of cultures for yogurt.
Yep.
But they're also semi-tied in with the ethanol plants. So I'm hoping to be able to talk to them and kind of like get some real insight into that whole world.
All right. We may have to talk afterwards then. My old
I don't know if
housemate
it's late enough yet, Si, for us to be showing feet.
That's cast strength after dark stuff there.
I mean, dude, I've got your feet and shorts on already.
You've got shorts on. That's a good.
I mean, us hobbits aren't afraid of showing people our feet. It's
fair enough. I mean, you do what you want, but don't feel peer pressure.
Well, all I know is that I need to go over there and get some something else to put into this. So
it's a good idea.
We get a peek behind the curtains.
Yep. Oh, jeez. Nice.
So this is when you realize, when you look at that light stand, that Jesse is too tall to be a hobbit.
It's true. Very, very true.
I do.
Also, he's got a light stand. That's just professionalism right there.
I have got.
Is that a high chair folded up, like holding your light stand up?
No, that's just a random high chair.
Oh, okay, sure.
I mean, I can find about another 8 of those around the house if you want.
It's fair. I have that problem too.
Dude,
we don't use it anymore. Like, it's here somewhere. It's always leaning on something.
Yeah, and we're kind of at the stage now where we don't use it, but because of the stage where our kids are at, we've still got a bunch of other people that come over and want high chairs and stuff.
Sure.
But we're so close to being able to ditch all that.
Just gaffer tape them to some milk crates, mate. They won't fall off. It's all good.
Sure.
I like that. I don't know.
Nothing said on this stream should be considered legal advice. And, the opinions expressed by those on the stream are their own and not the opinion of Cast Strength.
No, Jesse is so tall. Those are not shorts. Those are actually pants, and they just don't go the
Jesse is actually 7'5". It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Makes Weddle look.
What the fuck does that make you do?
Tiny.
I'm pretty sure I can't. It's kind of weird, right? When you meet someone you hang out with them for a couple of days, and then that's 6 months later or a month later or whatever. That's the only reference point you've got. But I'm guessing I'm at about eye level for you, dude. Brad.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. I think you're slightly shorter than me, maybe.
I'm like right on 6 foot, and you're
okay. So I got a couple inches on you then. I'm like 6'3".
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Meeting Ed from Rot Gut Review is interesting, though. One of the very few people that I look up to physically.
Really? Yes. Oh, see, I thought Ed was about the same because I'm 6'2", so I thought Ed would have been roughly my height. But
Ed is a giant mutant person. He's cool. He's nearly Weddle height. Not
because I know Weddle is 1 billion feet tall and works 150 hours a day.
accurate. Somehow
Yeah.
accurate. I don't know how, but yes, that is an accurate number for how much he works. It's mathematically strange how much Weddle works.
And what's weird is he will do a 15-hour shift, and then he has come on and chatted with us.
Yeah.
I think, all right, guys, I've got to go do this stuff now. I was like, oh, okay, dude.
Got to go to my third job of the day.
The fuck, dude? Like,
later.
when do you sleep?
Yeah, Ed was when I turned up in Austin this year. I think the first night I was at the hotel, I ended up having a few drinks with Ed, and that was cool, man. That was kind of I wasn't expecting to be able to chill with him. He's fun. He's cool.
Yeah, Ed is fun. He's good people. He comes on now and then.
He is the unofficial 5th member of Cask Strength or whatever it is.
I mean, he's been on the streams almost as much as Vito lately.
He also.
Are you calling Vito out? Is that what this is?
Yeah. We do it to Vito's face as well.
He's not going to watch this, so it doesn't matter.
No, it's like scrolling up in the chat.
Even if he did, that's fine. But he won't watch it.
Pouring whiskey into my beard, and then
saving it for later
to drop out the bottle.
It's fine.
So those grey streaks are just whiskey bleach.
Yeah,
Sure. It's just the alcohol bleaching things.
Yeah. No. So Jesse, like videos are like the chat. He does not scroll up. He does not watch old live streams. You can say whatever you want with immunity.
I mean, you could also do it right to his face, and it would be fine. So it doesn't really matter.
He'll forget in like 3 days.
Yeah. All good.
So who is officially Cask Strength now? I feel like.
Well, you are now.
Yeah, you are now. You're in.
Okay.
But yeah, me, I guess, technically. Jeremy.
Yep.
Dan and Vito.
And Vito. And
And
intermittently
Ed about half the time. You know?
Ed has actually made a video on this channel that has like 300 views.
It's true.
It's just no one has
one of
known it was him.
He has one of the more active videos that we have on the channel. That is an accurate statement.
You're hoping to be able to catch him sometime in 2020, Brad.
I could, but like it would be work. I mean, who wants that?
Actually, no. I think we've got more subs than Ed, comfortably.
Oh, I mean, he was going to make one video this year.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
I could make 2 maybe and beat. That's fine. Yeah,
just totally throw down, call him out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Brad has the best rating scale ever. It's not that good. It's good. You should get some.
It's way too. I think I'm going to have to cut back. It's actually way too complicated right now.
Well, just to and you should get some.
Maybe. Or like a nope. I was like, yeah.
You can just cut right back to
Sure.
That's it.
Just make one recording.
Yeah.
That's the whole review. Is just the same clip of.
So that would be brilliant. What you have to do is record 85% of a video, and then just record like a 10-second
review
of saying, "Today we're reviewing Brook Laddie."
It's just a clip of me saying today's review is on.
Don't give him ideas, Jesse, because he will do. He will be like, today's review is this, and then it'll just cut to.
Oh,
it's whiskey.
Yeah,
not even. It's just the exact same clip of me sipping a whiskey and saying this, and then I just ADR the name of the whiskey, like.
But hold on, it's up to you.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's all subjective. Like it's really hard to be like, wow, this is great, or wow, this sucks. Like, I like this. I don't know if you will.
So that's actually something that's interesting to me because I was a brewer and cared about beer before I came to whiskey. And beer has this whole structure of scoring and evaluating beer for competitions that is trying to make it not so subjective.
Right.
Like the whole BJCP world. And I can never understand.
I always freaking laughed at. Like, I can understand that you're trying to look at the technical side of things, but then you start ending up with nothing but cookie cutter German beers that lose their soul.
It makes no sense whatsoever for the person that wants to go to the store and just buy something that's yum. But it makes all the sense in the world for people that are in the world of competing, or in the world of people that want to be able to communicate with each other, right? So, because it standardizes the whole world, and because of that, there's going to be problems. Of course, there's like muddled, weird things, like weird styles, like international pale lager, which is basically any lager that's not made in America. That's a style. That's an example of the style, as opposed to something like APA or IPA or whatever. That's
and then calling it an international pale ale just like leads to confusion, because it's like, well, that's an IPA, right? Because that's the acronym.
Yeah.
No.
IPL.
Yeah.
Pale lager. But yeah, and there's really not a lot of that in the whiskey world. I mean, I haven't been part of any whiskey or spirits competition in general. I brew when I go to someone else's house and I put a beer in my hand and I watch them do the hard work and then say that I participated.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, that's better.
So you brew in the way that I do whiskey reviews. That's
exactly.
I like it.
I like it. Which is exactly how the bottom of that, beer was made.
Just the bottom part, not the top part.
Oh, the top part too. But...
yeah, fair enough.
No.
Terrible.
But yeah, the point being is, I'd love to sit at a judge's table at a whiskey judging competition, because how the hell do you judge something against each other if you don't have a yardstick to judge it to, right?
Well, see, for cake, so my aunt does cake decorating stuff, right? So she's in the Master Cake Decorators Guild or whatever the crap it is.
Now I do.
Yeah, it is absolutely massive. She goes to Singapore like 4 times a year to do classes. Like, it's nuts. They do like that style of judging where it's basically on the technical side. So it's a standardized technical thing, and I think that counts for 70%. I'm not 100% sure. And then the subjective side is literally just that. It is purely to the individual judges. They don't have to justify that to anyone because it's subjective. And that's where you get some of the interesting stuff, because that's when you can go, you match your profiles, I guess, to the judge that more aligns with your thinking. And that, I think, is where whiskey really needs to go if they're going to be doing that sort of shit. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's interesting, dude, because I'll quite often say something like, I would prefer to drink this, but I think this is a technically better whiskey.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in the whiskey world will go, what the fuck are you talking about? If you prefer to drink that one, that's the best whiskey. But what I'm trying to say is that this is the style of whiskey that I like to enjoy, but I can find a couple of flaws in it.
Yeah.
And this is damn near unfaultable, but I don't necessarily like to drink this. I would rather drink this. You know what I mean? Sure. And I think that comes from the beer background, because it's similar. You get 5 points for most categories, and one of those categories is just like drinkability. It's how much do you enjoy drinking it. Whereas the other categories are is this to style. And I think that's another thing that kind of lets the spirits world down, right? Is that if you say Isla in the spirits world, that is a region.
Yep. So and that region is peated. Heaven forbid. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But tell me that's an awesome Isla example.
Sure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or tell me that isn't an awesome Irish example.
Yeah.
Whereas in the beer world, you couldn't do that. It's less about where it's actually made and more about what it actually drinks like, I guess, if that makes sense. And that's based on historic, like terroir essentially, and people trying to recreate it elsewhere. But yeah, so I'm torn between the two, and I can't decide. Which side has merit.
And it's one of those weird things, right? Like you could literally take different metrics and compare Jack Daniels to Harbinger, right? Iron Root Harbinger, and depending on which metric you use, Jack Daniels will smoke Iron Root any other day, and other metrics, Iron Root will smoke, Jack Daniels every day. But then for me, although I've not had any Iron Root yet, I would imagine
it would be right up your alley, I think.
Yeah.
Given what I know about you,
I would imagine though, like it would be a different circumstance. JD could be the go-to drink. Like if I've just gone to mow the lawn and done all of that shit and whatnot, hell, JD and Coke, fantastic. I wouldn't want to have, sit down and have a whiskey. So yeah, depending on the metric, but it also depends on what sort of situation you're looking at drinking that whiskey, because not everyone is going to be sitting there, sitting on the back porch, having a cigar, smoking a whiskey. It's a completely different whiskey that you want to go to.
Yeah. Which is part of the cool thing about having style guidelines, right? So if I say that it's the end of the night, I've had a few drinks tonight, we've just had dessert, and I'm feeling full, but I want to enjoy something while sitting by the fire. In the beer world, I can say, right, give me a half pour of a Russian Imperial Stout, and I'll sit here and nurse that for 45 minutes. In the spirits world, I could say, give me a port, and I'll nurse that over the next half an hour and be fine. But there's no real way to say, give me a American whiskey, or give me a bourbon, or give me an Islay, or do you know what I mean? That like those names mean nothing in terms of what you're actually expecting to drink.
And that's where regions mean fuck all.
Exactly, yeah. But then on the other side of it, they mean everything, because when you say, give me an Islay, you know that it actually fucking comes from Islay.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. So it's kind of cool on that side.
But like if you said, give me an Irish, and they poured you a Connemara, be like, okay. They would be accurate, but it would be unexpected.
But I guess it's kind of like, depending on where you are. So if you go to Jesse or myself and say, I want a Ford sports car, we might think, Falcon XR8. That's a Ford sports car. Brad, Teresa, they would be thinking Mustang. You go to Terry, he'd be thinking a Focus RS. Yeah, it's just kind of, it's kind of the same thing to a lesser degree. Like, hey, it's a Ford. But frick me, they're all completely very different things, and they're very suited to their different, Yeah.
Sure. Whereas the beer world's done the opposite, right? It's said that that this specific drink, let's take Islay, because that's the most obvious to me. It's the most, in terms of all the regions, it's the thing that you're most likely to say, give me an Islay, and you know exactly what the bartender's going to give you. Sure. With a few random things. So basically what it's saying is that in the beer world, it's saying that it doesn't have to be made in Islay. It's just, if you say, give me
classification.
It defines what you're going to put that, you have an expectation. So if you say, I want an IPA, you know that it's going to be hop forward. You know that it's probably going to be in the 5 to 8% range. You know that it's going to have bitterness and hop characteristic. Sure. And the closest thing to that, I think, would be Islay, I guess, in the whiskey world. I guess Irish is pretty contained as well, really.
For the most, there's weird exceptions.
I was going to say, for a few exceptions, they are very much. But I wonder if that's why Texas whiskey as a whole is going through a boom, because it hasn't been pigeonholed as a region. It's not a Kentucky whiskey. It's not a thing. So they have a completely open freaking book to go. Fuck it. We have some dudes from craft beer. We have some dudes that have been all over. We've got some guys that used to fuck around in vineyards.
Yep.
Have at it.
Yeah.
So one of the sort of stranger things about Canadian whiskey is not all whiskey made in Canada can be labeled Canadian whiskey, because it has to have the flavor profile of a quote-unquote typical Canadian whiskey, which is a weirdly subjective thing, but it sort of circumvents that sort of thing where there's exceptions to the rule. Like if you ask for a Canadian whiskey, you're going to get that flavor profile because that's the only thing that can be labeled in that way, even if it's from Canada.
So I'm gonna interject on Teresa here for a second. Sorry, Jesse.
No, you're all right.
No. So interesting thing on that comment. Like, yes, if you ask for a peated malt made anywhere in the world, there is little difference, but there's a thread of consistency. Kind of, because some freaking Australian distilleries just fucked up the metric on that, because Australian peat bog has these eucalyptus and mint tones all through it, and it is a completely different kettle of fish. And New Zealand, I think, is the same with some of the shit that you've been peating as well.
So Gladfield Malt, who I officially work with, I guess they send me some stuff every now and again. They have done the same thing. So they found they've dug peat out of a New Zealand peat bog and have smoked New Zealand malt with it. And I can't wait to get my hands on it because the only thing I know that's going to happen is it's going to be smoky. But like if you're in the barbecue world, saying it's smoky is kind of like saying it's whiskey. Do you know what I mean? It's so many different flavors that can come from smoke. So I don't know what's going to happen, man.
Because it's a hard, like Jesse's probably the only one here that would understand. Like an Australian / to a smaller degree, New Zealand fire is a completely different scent, like astronomically completely different scent than anywhere else in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the peat translates to the same thing. Like it is no other peat. Like it's phenomenal. I don't know.
I have a hunch that peat might be even more so because you start with a totally different ingredient that goes into the ground.
Yeah.
And then you have to imagine that there's a whole lot of other factors, right? You've got different water profiles, you've got different bacteria, different yeast, different fungus, all decomposing it.
You've got the different oils that live through there as well, because you get eucalyptus and piney stuff, and yeah.
So I think if you compared like eucalyptus smoke to I don't know what is the main brush or wood that goes into peat in Ireland, heather maybe, or
I was gonna say it's heather and all of that sort of shit. Like
if you compared gum smoke or eucalyptus smoke to heather smoke, I would imagine that when you go, they sit here, but when you go to peat, that they get pushed even further apart. Would be my guess. That's my hypothesis. I don't know.
I would imagine. I'm very curious to find out if any distilleries in Canada are hopefully in the near future going to be starting to use some Canadian peat, because there is a lot of Canadian peat.
Yeah,
and as far as I know, no one has used it in a whiskey yet.
You couldn't call that Canadian whiskey, could you? Because it would be smoky.
It wouldn't be Canadian. There are like peated Canadian whiskeys, but they're all, as far as I know, at least, using like peat from the UK and different places. There hasn't been one that I'm aware of that uses Canadian peat, but I could be wrong on that.
Are they Canadian whiskey, or are they whiskey that's made in Canada?
It's whiskey that's made in Canada. It's like all like single malt, whiskey and stuff.
So what's your version of the TTB?
Oh, geez, I don't even know what the...
You do it in different regions, don't you?
Yeah, there's provincial laws. There are federal laws, but I'm not sure offhand what the regulatory body is federally.
There you go. Teresa's saying Canadian malts are their own category.
Yeah, like it's sort of its own thing, and there are at least like I think 3 that I know of, probably more, peated Canadian whiskeys at this point, like from different distilleries. But I don't think any of them so far have used Canadian peat. It's all been imported, or malt that was already peated that they brought in. Right.
They're importing Breeze or Wyman or something.
Right. I might have missed something, but Whiskey Crusader Will is saying lard, but that's laird. And now I'm just having thoughts of bacon, lard, peated whiskey.
I mean, isn't that actually a thing? I'm sure there's like multiple bacon.
There's bacon infused stuff, which I think is just basically literally bacon grease in a gin style whiskey, almost using bacon grease.
Yeah. Right.
But a bacon fire, like to malt your whiskey. Like that could be interesting.
Sure.
Well, I mean,
Could
that's
be a disaster, but
because you've got barbecue smoke.
What you
And
do,
then you've
yeah,
got
you
grill
make
smoke.
barbecue and you use the smoke to
so Jesse,
smoke the malt.
can you malt barley in a hungy? Because hungy malted barley could be a very good thing.
Yeah, me and Hungy don't.
Oh, you don't mix?
I just feel like it's. I don't know, dude. It's not my thing.
That's fair.
It's like steaming food, but not steaming food. It's smoking food, but not smoking food. It's right.
Yeah, Teresa is saying that there
Don't
hasn't been a Canadian peated, like with Canadian peat yet,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that it's probably coming. Which wouldn't surprise me. There's a lot of sort of smaller distilleries in Canada that are finally starting to do sort of experimental things and trying a bunch of ideas. So it wouldn't surprise me if it happens at some point in the near future. But.
How have we doubled our viewers from an hour ago? Anyway.
Wait, there's more now than before? I assumed that we were talking to ourselves now, to be perfectly honest.
No, we've got more. We've got all. I think we're
20.
down a couple of viewers from like the top that we were at, but we got a solid 21 viewers right now. It's not bad.
So for those that don't know, a hungy is very much like the Hawaiian underground barbecue thing that they do.
You heat stones up, you throw it in the ground, you put food on top of it, you cover the food up with
banana and hash and shit and whatnot. Yeah,
hissing sacks, and then you put dirt on top of it and bury it.
And then hope it doesn't get into the food.
Yeah. But at that point, I'm kind of like, well, I mean, that's awesome, and don't get me wrong, it's delicious, it's yum.
Oh yeah,
sure. But if you've got some nice ingredients, like, why do that with it when you can just actually?
Because they didn't have pressure cookers when they were, all by themselves, man.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is, now I've got a fucking smoker. So why would would I bury it when I can smoke it?
I'm still on fire ban, so I can't smoke it.
Yeah. Fair enough, dude. I since coming back from Austin and eating barbecue multiple times and going, holy shit. It's kind of like when the first time you try something that's not the cheapest, shittiest Jack Daniels or Johnny Walker you can have, right. And going, oh, okay, this is what barbecue can be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Coming back to New Zealand, I've made ribs 3 times. I've made pulled pork twice, and I've made brisket once.
Now, see, I've done a couple of briskets in the Texas style, just salt, pepper, and love.
Yep. And long, slow wood. What wood were you using? What were you smoking it with?
Now I was actually using iron bark.
Okay.
Which is a little bit hotter. So you have to really be on it for the temperatures because you will ramp past where you want to go. However, it means
like you're doing wood fire.
Oh yeah. Like proper old school. Yeah.
I'm a cheesy son of a bitch who's using gas with chunks of shit.
Yeah, no. Mine's proper offset and everything.
I was literally pulling like the old staves that I've been aging the whiskey on. I've got a bag of them. Nice. Yeah, I'm smoking that. But,
yeah, no, because I've done like the apple wood, and I managed to get some Texas post oak at some point as well. Nice. And ironbark was just, I actually found it's a pain in the ass to get the temperatures right, but once you get everything set, it's literally half hour, check it, throw a log on if you don't, got it all dialed in. Right. Wait 14 to 16 hours, and when the meat's ready, and yeah. Nice. And just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah.
My brisket I got from work, and it was kind of it was staff sale stuff, and I can't say exactly.
Hang on a second. Hang on. Did work as in the pet food work? Like you're just stealing brisket from them?
yeah, pulling shit out of the dog bag. No, so the company I work for is vertically, and basically the company I work for was born because there was a majority shareholder of another company that decided that there was a whole lot of waste products going from human food into rendering that they were getting 8 cents a kilo for. take that stuff instead of render it, turn it into dog food.
So value add.
Yeah. It was value adding. And they just kept doing it over and over and over and over and over again. They tanneries and fucking all sorts of stuff. So when I say staff sales, it was from one of the sister or brother companies. But it was real young beef. It was part of a trial. So the lean meat would have been beautiful, but the brisket was really young and had no fat in it whatsoever. So I had to babysit it pretty hard and did the old Texas crutch and everything, but it was still,
the last brisket I did, it was from older cattle. My uncle was managing a property, so we just found one that was the healthiest looking, and it accidentally met an accident and ended up in the freezer.
What, was it an axe or?
No. It was humane, but yeah. So we hung it up for 3 weeks in the cold room and then butchered it up, and it was beautiful.
I just saw in the comments, Bison saying that Manuka wood has similar smoke profiles to maple, and I have not tried maple smoke before. The smoke that I added into that blend before was the Manuka smoke, and I haven't tried maple smoke, but I have tried Manuka wood as, instead of oak to age, and maple wood instead of oak to age, and those are nothing on them. So that's kind of interesting to me. I would imagine maple would be quite sweet and delicate as a smoking wood. Misunderstanding that.
It occurs to me with Will from Whiskey Crusaders watching, I should be eating bacon, so I grabbed some bacon jerky.
Good thinking.
Dude, yes. I had bacon snacks.
Will's pocket bacon is legendary.
Oh, yeah. If someone walked up to you and said, "Hey, dude, got some bacon stashed in my pocket. You want to try it?"
I mean, that's clearly
full on
euphemism right
sketchy,
there.
like trench coat style. Like, you want some bacon? Like passing it off to the side, like, here, just sneak a little of this.
Yeah, and then you like convinced to try some, and then you're like, okay, you're my best friend for the rest of like, how long are you in town?
Just make sure you don't look in his other jacket pocket, because that's just human organs on his other side.
And the funny thing is that it's literally the perfect whiskey snack.
It is. It absolutely
everything
is.
about it.
Well, that extra fat to coat the tongue means the whiskey lasts a bit longer. You've got that umami that kick from the bacon, and
the smoke. Yeah.
Now
it really pairs well with Talisker 57 North. I'll tell you that.
All right, I'm going to do an amalgamation here of this and this. I've got some quarter cask over there that's calling me.
Excellent.
Yes, Will, you were just ahead of the trend.
You were, dude. 100%.
Absolutely. The pocket bacon saved me at the ball, man. Great.
Like when you first said, "Do you want to try some bacon?" I was like, "Okay," and then someone said, "Yeah, he makes bacon," and I was imagining some dude like running through the forest, hunting a pig down and stabbing it in the back and smoking it. I was like, I don't know what to expect. I was like, okay, I'll try some bacon, I guess. But yeah, totally on board, man. And the problem is, we find it really hard to find bacon that is not thin and completely laden full of water. Like, I think I'd find it hard to make the same thing here.
Oh, sure. I'm fine. There's a piggery about 45 minutes up the road.
You son of a...
Nice.
And every year for Christmas, I go up there. I go up to the butcher that's attached to the piggery, and I get their smoked chook for Christmas, because they do this massive run, and they hang a whole heap of chooks underneath the hams that they're curing and smoking. So what you end up with a smoked chook that has basically been basted with ham grease. It's
yum. I was talking to one of the guys I used to work with at the job before this was a butcher in a previous life, and he said they used to do lamb hams for Christmas. And I've got to get hold of some of that, dude, because I can't quite see how that would work.
So Brad did a cult trip, and there was lamb bacon.
Yes, that they ate before I got there.
So I heard this story, and I'm like, hell yeah,
lamb bacon.
Yeah, it's expensive, but it's tasty.
I could see that.
I hear it's. I heard it was great.
I'm kind of imagining it to be more even thicker and more substantial, and like less about being crispy and cracker-like, and more. So
the stuff that I got from a Melbourne butcher shipped up, and it's a bit more firmer, and the grain is less sort of cross-grained like you would get in bacon. Absolutely phenomenal. Like all right. Yeah, and of course, it's not like New Zealand's wanting for sheep, so you should be able to find someone who does it.
Problem is, dude, every ounce of New Zealand's an export country.
No, it's an export company. You're right.
Yeah. Anything that's half decent fucks off elsewhere.
Well, last time I was in England, like you could get Australian lamb, for half the price after conversion than you could here. It was freaking nuts.
Exactly the same, dude. Last time I was in Costco in San Diego, you could get lamb anything for, almost not quite as cheap as half the price after conversion, but pretty damn close.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, man. Like we can't get it here.
It's like, cool, like how much does this shit cost to ship, and why is it so freaking expensive when they're almost in our backyard? Yeah,
it's buying power, dude. Literally one Costco store in America is almost the buying power of New Zealand.
New Zealand does have a population of 10,000, so
pretty much, yeah.
That seems right.
And you've taken more of your citizens back, because at one point there were more New Zealanders in Australia than there were in New Zealand, and
there was a shit ton of New Zealanders in Australia. Yeah.
Yeah.
We literally have more sheep than humans.
Yeah, so do we, but we just call you the sheep rooters.
No.
So rude.
This
is an ongoing.
It's been a.
They call us sheep rooters. We call them sheep rooters. We call them underarm bowlers. I mean,
to be fair, we were.
Cricket.
Just because it's accurate doesn't mean it's rude to say.
Look, there are two things: cricket and rugby. Both things that Jesse totally watches the whole time.
I have hated rugby with a passion since birth. I did used to play cricket though.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh well, let's see. I played rugby. I can't watch it on TV anymore.
Yeah,
because it shits me to tears.
Yeah.
And I still listen to cricket on the ABC because I can't watch it because it shits me to tears. Test cricket, I can watch the 2020 shit.
2020, yeah, that's kind of. I got introduced to ice hockey, and then
just gone.
Yeah. Everything else is kind of ridiculous.
Isn't it just the violence of rugby, just on ice with sticks?
Yeah, but so I'm scared to say this on record, because if I say this on record,
that's it. Broadcast over. We've got to have a private conversation.
Thanks for watching. Cheers. All of that.
Well, I'm scared if I say this, I might get deported. But here's the thing: rugby is the game of run good, and with a little bit.
Definitely has been of late.
Catchy. That's about it. So then you go to like football, and when I say football, I mean soccer.
Sure.
Which is kind of the opposite, right? It's the game of absolute fucking pussies who roll around on the ground and claim anything and everything. But it's a game of real skill. Like humans
I broke my leg. Oh no, we got a penalty. I'm fine. It's
exactly. But it's a game of real skill. Humans are not naturally good at moving objects around with their feet, right? Like humans are naturally good at running to catch things or running to avoid things.
Sure.
So then you go, okay, put some ice skates on. Okay, you're already completely out of the realm of natural, sportsmanship, I guess. And then, by the way, you've got to handle this tiny little puck with a stick that's ridiculously long. Just everything about it is faster, harder, more skilled than any New Zealand sport, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's look. As I
You
said,
do lose a lot more teeth though with hockey. So that's...
Yeah, but you make a shit ton more money, and then you just wait till the end of your career and get that shit fixed.
It's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, how the hell did we end up on sport?
I don't know, but it
I
wasn't
try to
sport.
avoid sport conversations like the plague, but you know.
Is that because something cricket we won and let it be done because that was a dismal game?
Dude, I literally couldn't name a single player in the New Zealand or New Zealand cricket teams combined right now.
Super Jeff Wilson, he still plays, right?
No shit, does he?
No.
It's all sports ball to me. I have no idea.
My era is like Shane Warne, Glenn McGrath, Mark Crowe. Like that's
Look, as I said, I listened to it on the radio, and there is, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of the current crop. For those who don't know, Super Jeff Wilson, okay, he wasn't called Super Jeff Wilson, it was just Chief. He played rep level All Blacks, but he could play rep level cricket. And there was another sport. He was just naturally good. And by rep, like, he was top of the game. I think he was in the top 10 batsmen that were playing at the time, and phenomenal all-rounder. Phenomenal all-rounder. And seemingly a nice dude.
So we've now officially talked for 15 minutes.
2.5 hours.
It's got almost 2.5 hours. We should probably call it at some point soon, I would say.
I was going to say we talked for 15 minutes about something that like no one cares about because there's going to be one New Zealander, maybe, and one Australian that ever watched this.
So Fonterra, right? My old housemate is actually
Greg's like, get me out of this shit. The Kiwi and the Australian are talking.
Fine. I'm just gonna live in my Talisker for a while. It's fine. You guys talk about whatever you want.
You don't need sleep, do you?
No, I don't really. That's fine. It's all good. I'm used to it. That's what caffeine is for.
Right.
Oh no, he's an environmental engineer. He used to work at BHP of all things, and they headhunted him to go back to Kiwiland.
Wait, what? Who are we talking about?
My old housemate. Yeah, he's actually I think he's one of the senior environmental engineers of all things. Yeah, goes from managing the dams at BHP to managing like this big swath of the North Island for Fonterra. 20 minutes since we've discussed whiskey distilling.
You're right. You're 100% right. Lefroy cask strength. Quarter cask. Look, whiskey.
Yay! One of the Lefroy's that I can actually still drink because quarter cask ruined all the rest of them.
It's fair.
I get you.
Some of the Cargises are pretty good, like the triple wood and things. But
they're a bit hard to find.
Their core releases, definitely, they're not my favorite necessarily, other than quarter cask.
I still like the 10 just because it's kind of nostalgic. And I think it's nice. I think it's good. That's my wife's favorite.
It makes a solid smoky pepper. I'll give it that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I tried this very early on in my delve into, whiskey geekery, and I didn't like it as much as the 10. I came back to it.
Is that because it smelled like Band-Aids?
No, I think it was because this is more subtle, right? Like I feel like when you first start drinking whiskey, you get in and you get acclimatized, and then you go looking for anything that's fucking extreme.
Sure.
And Lefroy to me is kind of like a little bit of sweet. Lefroy 10. There's a little bit of sweet, a little bit of like interesting stuff up front, and then smoke, and then nothing else.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
also, Jeremy, Band-Aids smell like Lefroy, not the other way around. Like
there's the
Band-Aids are way more recent an invention than Lefroy.
So the Johnson & Johnson factory, it's not iodine they put on their Band-Aids. It's literally just some dude just bit of Lefroy on every Band-Aid before they pick it up.
For all
it's antiseptic.
I'm just saying, Lefroy was around long before there were Band-Aids that smell like modern Band-Aids.
It's a good point, dude. It's a very good point. I've never thought of that. But yeah. This is more subtle and nuanced and interesting to me now, whereas Lafroig 10 is more like a kind of a crowbar, I guess.
Sure. Not necessarily a bad thing, depending on what you want, but like not super interesting as far as, flavors go.
Yeah. If you compare it next to Ardbeg 10, it's, it's not nearly as...
See, I'm on the record of saying that the Ardbeg lineup, like you can go anywhere in that lineup and go back to the 10 and you're not disappointed. Whereas
that's a fair statement. Actually, that's a very fair statement.
Yeah. Whereas Lafroig, like you can adventure everywhere and kind of as soon as you hit quarter cask, for me personally anyway, as soon as you hit quarter cask, you go, yep, this is it. This is nice. And then you go back to the 10, you just find it lacking because for the same reason. Smoke. Yeah. It's like, where's the rest of it?
Yep. No, that's fair. And
absolutely.
I think there's a.
I've been drinking, Brendan. Don't worry. I've been drinking the Grants. It's all good.
He forced the cricket conversation there for a while, so I think that's, it's testament enough.
Yeah, no one talks about cricket sober. I'm sure that was crazy.
No one watches cricket sober, dude. There's no such thing.
You always watch cricket.
I would
always
need so
watch
much
cricket
weed to watch cricket. It wouldn't even be crazy.
It's
Whiskey
very
wouldn't
simple.
be strong enough.
What you do is you have a drink, you sit in front of the TV, you close your eyes. You're only resting your eyes. You're not sleeping. You're only resting your eyes.
Sure.
With the cricket on because you are watching cricket. And the moment someone changes that channel, hey, I was watching that. And that's how you watch cricket.
Sure. Makes sense.
It's interesting, right, though, because is this quarter cask even age statement?
No,
I don't think
from
it
memory.
is. I don't think it is.
And I think it's only 46, isn't it?
No. 48.
48.
But it's interesting to me that it seems like the wankery of, and Roy from Aquavite was the first person to specifically point this out to me, was that the wankery of age statements is starting to back off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it interesting that like this is a super well-known brand and that most people that are into whiskey would, go to this or the cask strength, I guess.
Sure.
I think during the period between what was the last big whiskey boom was the end of the 70s towards the 80s, right? Like the proper big whiskey boom.
Yeah, right.
They spent a lot of time on marketing, and whiskey was consumed a slightly different way as well because there were a lot of highballs and a lot of on ices and stuff. And age statements mattered because it was something that was easy to market without very much education. You didn't need to educate the consumer. Older is better. Older is darker. Fantastic.
Yep.
Then you've got all of those years interluding, and the education realistically didn't get any better for the majority of whiskey drinkers until really the last 5 years it started to improve for your average drinker. Which is where you get your Dalmores and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree.
Wankery.
Who will put an age statement, make sure it's as dark as possible because you've had a whole generation and a half of consumer where the older is better, the darker is better.
Yep.
And there's not been much more education outside of that.
And now you've got Texas whiskey coming in and going,
fuck your coloring, fuck your age statements.
Yeah.
Here's a nice 5-year-old. Sure, it tastes like a 50-year-old, but have a nice 5-year-old.
Here's like an 8-month-old whiskey. It tastes 10 years old. Deal with it.
And Ardbeg's just like, hold my bottle. We're bringing out a 5.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is with the unage statemented side of things and especially the Texas whiskey side of things is that it allows people like Jared to come forward and say it's not about the number. It's about we're coaxing and crafting and melding this thing into something that's amazing because we're good at what we fucking do.
Right.
There you have it. And then you've got Ty from Andalusia who's kind of crafting and melding something more around the terroir and the ingredients we're using and the philosophy behind the stuff that we're making. It's good because I'm good at what we do, not because it's old. And it's
you also notice that more and more and more, they've been saying like aging is not the right word, and it's not. It's not an appropriate word, which means that an age statement means nothing because age is not an appropriate word. You're looking at the time it takes to mature something, and that differs according to the environment. And that has now become an almost universal message from all of the distillers.
Yeah, which is hilarious because you get the opposite in a lot of the home distilling stuff.
Yeah.
Home distillers saying that you take, 500 mils of whiskey, you add a shit ton of whiskey chips to it, so the surface area of wood to the surface, to the volume of whiskey is huge. 1 year equals 3 days. I've aged it for 3 days. It's as good as something that's 10 years old. That sort of stuff. And the inverse is not true either. So there's two separate things, right? There's all the aging stuff that happens in whiskey, which is more around oxidization, micro-oxidization, esterification in the barrel. And then you've got the essentially wood tea bag, which is pulling flavors out of the wood.
Right.
So it seems like the home distilling and the commercial side of things are moving together. I guess, which is interesting.
As soon as the comment comes up to throw on the screen, I'll throw it on the screen. N. Henderson is saying he's known to pick a bottle that has an age statement over a non-age statement bottle. Distillers should be proud of what they can produce in the time it took. I'm going to say yes and no. Yeah. A prime example is Robert Licorice is on record saying many a time that, especially in summer, you can taste a barrel in the morning, and as it heats up, the flavor profile is completely different. It's like, this is a bottleable product at like 4 a.m. in the morning. Bottle it now because at 12 o'clock, your window's gone. Yeah. So I think in some environments, because obviously that does not equate to your Scottish or your Irish or anything like that, where they've got
They don't get fluctuation over.
It's a very specific sort of.
So their windows are a lot larger in which they can do stuff.
Yeah.
I think that age has very little to do with it, and it has more to do with the distiller and the blender and all of those people involved knowing this is the peak time for this particular barrel for what the style that they're after. Because you can get one style after 6 years or 7 years or whatever, but then there's a completely different flavor profile on the back end in, say, 22 years' time. And balancing that act is just...
But in saying that, dude, this is a non-age statement Laphroaig, right? So these guys have the advantage of putting a 30-year-old barrel that's just not amazing by itself into this whiskey.
Yep.
Potentially.
Sure. Well, it's quarter cask, so it could literally be a shagged out barrel that they've filled, didn't do what they wanted to do, chuck it in a smaller barrel, bam.
Yeah. My point being is that I think it depends on the region, and I think in Scotland, because of the temperature, two reasons. One is the lower overall average temperature, and two, the rate of fluctuation, right? So in Texas, you've got from morning till night is bigger than, in some cases, the fluctuation in an entire year in Scotland. So I think in some regions, age means a lot because you don't have that interaction with spirit and wood.
And I've forgotten the name. The guy, he was from Laphroaig. He was saying that like one of the problems that a lot of the Scottish distillers have had in the past is they'll buy a secondhand barrel. That barrel may be used for 30 to 40 to 50 years. And that's 3 or 4 or 5 10-year-old age statement whiskies that'll run through that barrel, which they then, will blend to the profiles that they're after. But on that 6th year, you could end up with a magical whiskey, or you could end up with something the barrel just had nothing more to give.
Yeah.
And that's when like the distiller goes, well, shit, throw it into a quarter cask, give it a bit of a boost or whatever, or let's throw it into this and give it and that I think is nothing to do with it's nothing to do with age statement. It has everything to do with the distillers and the blenders that are playing around with the shit.
100%. Like, for example, what's this?
Sorry to interrupt. I'll be right back in a second.
He's getting a pizza pocket.
Wait, I don't.
Maybe.
But for example, I've made whiskeys that end up in 3 or 4 different jars, exactly the same whiskey from exactly like not the same mash bill, and made on different days. It was distilled at the same time. There's just too much volume to go into one jar. So I take that literal same run from the still and put it into 3 different jars, and put the literal same piece of wood that's been split into 3 pieces into those 3 jars. Let it sit for 6 months, and those 3 whiskeys are similar but totally different whiskeys from each other. So even if you take out all those variables of, like how many times has the barrel been used, where is it sitting in the warehouse, is this the spring run or the autumn run, all of those things, you get different products, which is crazy. But then when you get to scale, so when you get to a big ass commercial distillery, the cool thing is that they've got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of barrels to pick from. So when they do get to blending, they can say, like for a certain label, this is the flavor profile that we're going after. We know that we need a certain amount of peat from something. We know we need a certain amount of oak from something. We know we need iodine, and put them all together. And that, I think, is one of the really big advantages of a long-established large distillery.
Well, once you've got the income coming in, you're not like you've got that overhead to fuck around with shit, like have a bit of a play, have a bit of an experiment.
And not only that, put down more barrels for the future, right? Like, the whiskey industry's crazy. You've got to know in Scotland years ahead of time that you're going to grow or not grow.
And the Scottish distillers, I think, have it the hard. Anyone that's really, really far north or really, really far south,
right,
have it hard because potentially, what is it? You get into your 20s. If you ended up working at a distillery, you're gonna work for 20 to 30 years before you're at a level that you're trusted to experiment a little bit.
Yep.
And then
even
potentially,
you're not messing with spirits that you made.
Yeah. And then potentially, if you're lucky enough to do a run big enough to fill a barrel, you may never ever taste your end product.
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
Yeah. And then whatever it is that led up to that point, like they could have a freaking magical barrel. They may never be able to replicate it because you don't know what it is that made that barrel happy. For want of a better word, was it the spot? Was it the weather cycles? Was it just the dude took a whiz in the barrel 2 weeks beforehand? you just don't know. Like,
no, you don't. And it's crazy, man. Like on a home, so for beer, right? You mash in, you ferment, you put it. Let's say you're putting it in kegs, not bottles, so it's even shorter. Your turnaround time's maybe somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks. So if you're brewing on any regular time, scale whatsoever, you've got to be very detailed to keep track of what you did 3 weeks ago to know, okay, so I'm trying this beer, it's good. What did I do 3 weeks ago to make it good? And then you get a whiskey, and that's 10 years.
But then it's what are the things that you can control that you did 3 weeks ago?
Exactly.
Was it one of those high pressure, kind of really humidity, weird ass days, and the yeast was just freaking happy and farting out all of the best alcohol?
Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, that's actually how any alcohol is made. Is yeast just farts out alcohol? It's the scientific way.
I mean, I would argue that it farts out CO2 and it pisses out alcohol, but
that works too. I mean, there is a potential that Brad just pissed out some alcohol as well, but
possible.
I'm about to go piss out some alcohol also. I've been waiting for Brad to come back, so Jeremy will.
I really wish that I had a third, even more disheveled shirt.
But,
oh well.
You need to make one, dude. You need to make one.
I should.
You legitimately had me going for a little while there when you said that you'd undone your tie. I was like, oh, wait, no shit, his tie's on.
You need
the flower's also on the opposite side for some reason on this one. I don't know, but
You'll need one that has like a sauce stain or something on it as well.
Right. The tie is just missing. The buttons are all undone. There's just chest hair. Like, the flower's gone.
Do you put them on Clark Kent style and then you run off and whip one off?
I did not. No, I just had it sitting.
It's honestly,
figured it would be silly.
They're Velcro quick release stripper style.
Ooh.
That would be fun. I can work that out.
All right, I need to piss and I need to.
You go be yeast. You go be yeast. Yeah.
Yikes! Okay, it's getting to almost 3 hours. Things are getting silly.
Oh, dear.
Brendan Watts was waiting for another shirt change. I know. I wish. I don't know.
Speaking of which, Brad, we really should give Ed that shirt that he won over a year ago.
That's a thing that we should do.
Just remember, guys, those that are watching, whenever Cast Strength runs a competition where you may get a prize, be prepared to wait at least 12 months. We're good with the merch. Yeah. Can we blame Vito?
I've met him in person since then and still didn't get a shirt to him. Horrible.
It's Vito's fault, right?
Sure. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
God damn it, Vito.
I like it.
Even Jesse concurs.
Right, yeah.
So speaking of the age statement stuff, have either of you tried the Lost Spirit whiskey?
I have had a sample of Lost Spirit stuff, yeah.
So someone served it to me blind in the vault before I knew what was going on. And I did not pick that there was anything crazy about it. I picked that it wasn't great. I picked that it was average to mediocre whiskey, but I wouldn't have said, oh yeah, this is super young and it's been through a fucking reactor.
Sure.
You know? And then after after the person that served it to me told me what it was, I went around and served it to other people. Rory was one of them. It was I singled out a few people that I respected their taste buds basically, and no one picked that it was super, super young whiskey, which is kind of freaking crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting, some of the like weird rapid aging things that people are testing now, where like it'll get some sort of notes that you would get from actual aging, but not all of them. So it's like a really weird skewed set of flavors, because like you can only fake so much, right? And it's sort of, so you can get like super dominant wood notes from like vibrating the wood or like different things, but like you're not going to get the whole experience.
So,
you just get
what I'm hearing is basically you take many of the rapid aging processes and blend them together, and you could potentially fool people.
Maybe. I mean, who knows?
I think the problem is what Brad touched on is that you can oak teabag shit really easily. You just put a greater ratio of oak in.
A bunch of wood, you vibrate the hell of it. You got a woody whiskey.
But then you've got some that do like that reverse pressurization bullshit, and some where they heat cycle rapidly.
So both of those things are forcing whiskey into and out of the wood.
Yeah,
which is oak teabagging faster. The stuff that's harder is breaking down certain molecules into other certain molecules. So esterification, oxidization, changing into other
oxidation things. Is the big one that people seem to think is a boogeyman, where it's actually your friend. Like,
no, yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah.
Porous
material, you're going to get oxygen passing through it.
Sure,
I think that's a good thing. But but that I think that's how do I put it. So in theory, I've got nothing against rapidly aging a whiskey, right? It's all just chemical reactions.
Sure.
It's not like there's something supernatural about it. If you can figure out a way to add certain molecules into it or speed up the process of the change of molecules from one thing to another, why can't you create a 30-year-old whiskey in 2 days? in practice, I just don't think it's there yet.
Right. Like there's people that are literally trying to do it at a molecular level. Like they're trying to match the actual molecular structure of an aged whiskey, and they pull out the things that they can't get with rapid aging and just add them afterwards.
But I mean, we kind of do that with tomatoes and bananas and stuff now, though. Like we pick the bananas green or the tomatoes green, and then we throw in, I've forgotten the name of the chemical, the gas.
Yeah, you gas it in the container while it's on the way to
and it forces it so that it starts to ripen, artificially soon. Whereas if you have a banana that's ripe on the tree, hey, look, the rapidly the preserved then aged banana tastes banana-y, tastes like a banana, but if you take it one that's aged properly on a tree, it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
whiskey's potentially at that same point.
Sure, no one has found the way to do it, but I don't see a reason why it physically couldn't be done if someone figures out the way to do it. It hasn't hit yet. None of the rapidly aged things, are quote unquote right.
Yeah.
But they're all sort of interesting in different categories. It's a strange. No one has invented the CRISPR of whiskey aging, essentially.
The interesting thing to me
Not yet. I mean, who knows?
No, yeah, I think there's no reason why it's not possible. But the other thing is, too, that most of these people that are doing it right is that they're firmly on the technology side. What would happen if you took Jared from Balcones and sent them over there to do the blending, and you took someone from Ardbeg over there to say, this is what a new make spirit should taste like before it goes into the reactor, someone that's been working there for 40 years and has had the advantage of working with someone before him who's been there for 40 years and before him who's been there for 40 years.
Sure.
So I do think there's a scenario where that the problem with these spirits is everything else that's going into it, not the aging.
I was going to say, potentially, though, you may have struck on something. It could be that side of stuff, or potentially it could be you can't start with a new make as you know it.
Yeah, it could be that too. Yeah,
it could literally be a case of, hey, if you throw in more of the tail, far more of the tails than you would ever throw into a new make that's reasonable, and then at the end of the aging process, bring it up to a certain temp, remove all of the good shit, leave the crap at the back. There's your rapidly aged, whiskey. Yeah, that could well be the process as well.
It could be a very, very strange initial product. Because of the process, it ends up being right.
Yep. Weirdly, you can't use copy. You've got to use this, this or something, because the copification, we just don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if somewhere in the next bunch of years, someone comes up with a combination of things look, we aged this thing in 2 weeks. It tastes like it's 15 years old. We worked out the combination of random weird situations that we needed to recreate.
Or we could just CRISPR a watermelon so that it just makes whiskey, so that all you need to do is juice the watermelon. Sure. And there's a beautiful Isla.
CRISPR cows so that they excrete 15-year-old whiskey instead of milk.
So you just suck on a cow teat.
Yeah.
Yeah, direct from the source.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that would be a little bit interesting with the whole smell being 70% of the taste thing. Smells kind of like a non-peated floaty.
Hey, but honestly, at a real level, going back to what you said, Brad, tasting Andalusia's new make spirit, that was pretty and delicate and very, very drinkable as a product by itself, right? And their thinking was, this is going to go into a barrel, and we've got somewhere between 2 and 4 years to make this delicious. We want to clean it up as much as we can in distillation. And then I go and talk to the ironry guys who are the opposite. They say, screw that. We want some grunge. Excuse me. We want some tails. We want some funk. We want some nastiness that's going to do something interesting in the barrel. And even in 2 to 5 years, they're able to change that into the profile that they get. So it's just not a solved problem. It's still magic.
Absolutely. And with Ironroot, they're doing so many interesting things with oxidization, just leaving okay, we're going to do this barrel half empty, see what the oxidization does to it. And sometimes it works out great, and they blend it into things, and it's it's not a better or worse situation. It's just it could be super different. Who knows? And
the net result seems to be good, because I don't hear anything bad said about Andalusia. And I don't hear anything bad said about Ironroot.
No.
That's exactly the point. They're both making delicious whiskey in completely the opposite mentality on that one vector or metric.
Right. Yeah. And Ironroot just throws everything out the window. They're like, well, let's just take a brandy mindset. Let's just screw this. Let's just do a 5-day fermentation, whereas everyone else is, doing or whatever. And they say screw it to a lot of the conventional things.
Sure. They sort of have to a lot of times in Texas because of the heat issues. We can't do it they're doing it in Kentucky or whatever. It's not going to work. So what are we going to do different to try to see what works out?
But the genius of what Ironroot is doing is even though they've said that, so I couldn't get my head around what the Ironroot flavor was for a long time. And I finally dialed it in, and I thought I had it nailed. I thought I understood what Ironroot was all about. And then they threw Icor at us. And I went, holy fuck. Okay, I don't get it anymore. I don't understand. I don't know. And then after talking to them, they drew me a little Venn diagram, and they said, Scotch, rum, which blew my fucking mind, cognac, American whiskey, and then bourbon. And the intersection of all those parts, I may have missed one, is the Ironroot flavor profile. And when you hear them say that, all of the things they do are extremely calculated, but crazy compared to the standard industry knowledge, I guess, if that makes sense.
Right.
So that was the other thing that blew my mind with them, right? Is that they can be super dialed in and super focused on what they make, but also be complete and utter fucking pioneers in other ways.
Sure.
And the merge of those two things is what excited me about the prospect of being in commercial distilling, as opposed to, fuck that, I never want to go there. It's a hobby and I enjoy it. I don't want to spoil that hobby. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, though. When you speak to Robert, he is a fantastic businessman, and he has his finger dial on some things that I don't think people realize.
Oh, yeah.
But then he has this beautiful air, almost as if they are treating it like a hobby, and they're just making fantastic product as a side note.
So Sai needs to know where that website is to track all these changes, Jesse, that you've been alluding to, that you're going to be creating.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't exist yet. The website exists. It's chasethecraft.com.
It's in the future.
It's the future. That's future Jesse's problem, dude.
Just like whiskey, wait 10 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully not 10 years. Jeez.
At some point in the time, future Jesse's going to be sober, and he's totally going to be onto it and sort that shit out.
Future Jesse's problem.
Yeah, future Jesse's problem. No, chasethecraft.com, dude. It's a goal. It's a midterm goal that I want to work towards. I've got some things literally sitting over there that I need to ferment and distill that are going to kind of kickstart that. I have the idea of how it's going to work together and bring people together and offer knowledge to anyone that wants to make things at home, or craft new distilleries that don't have industry knowledge or heritage to pull on. Technically, how that's all going to come together, no idea. I'm going to pour another whiskey. Hold on.
Yep.
Nice.
So Sai, I don't know if you've followed any of Jesse's stuff. The man actually, unlike us, has built a wonderful professional community sort of kicking around there. From what I understand, was really big in the home brewery stuff for a long time beforehand. And then into the distilling. You can find him on a lot of the distilling forums if you look hard enough. He's building a really easy to navigate sort of community over there.
You used to be able to find me on the forums. I've been slack lately, and I've just run out of time.
Busy with all your fancy new merch.
He's dropping it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten anything yet.
It took forever to get here because Canada, but it finally showed up.
Yeah,
so
it gets to Canada quicker than it gets to me. It's all good.
I've got a once again. I'm just I don't know why I'm giving away all these things that are supposedly secrets, but I've got coins that are coming, and they are stuck in. I know why whiskey. That's why, but I've got coins that are stuck in customs at the moment, and I'm struggling to get them out into me. But
hey,
customs
Paddy,
is a pain in the butt. That's for sure.
See, you need to be like us. We announce all of these wonderful ideas that we may do in the future. We never do.
We've done a couple of them. What are you talking about?
You name one, Brad, that wasn't done by Josh or Dan.
I hear that you've got merch coming sometime.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we technically have.
I mean, we've got a
merch.
merch store.
I just haven't
advertised it.
actually built the website, so it's really dumb. But it is technically existing.
Yeah, and we do have like a whole heap of test products that we did. Gretchen has at least 6 mugs.
Nice. But Gretchen's no longer Husk's drink.
Yeah, well, she was the HR department. That's why Brad could never get fired.
Because there's no HR department anymore.
That's it. I keep trying to get fired, but there's no one to do it. So I just keep showing up, I guess.
Yeah.
So where do I direct my sexual harassment?
Oh, directly at whoever's harassing you.
Okay.
How you doing, Jesse?
Fuck you, Jeremy.
See how that'll work out.
Oh, dear. And this is why I haven't been fired, because we don't have an HR department.
It's a good thing.
What is your view on the Teeling?
Teeling?
Which one? Because I like Teeling.
Generally, yeah.
The
I've enjoyed several Teelings that I've had.
Which one? Wine cask or rum cask or
rum? I'm trying to figure out what else it is.
I
did buy this one, but
yeah,
I don't think I've had rum cask Teeling.
No, we've got a whole heap of it down in the southern hemisphere at the moment.
I honestly didn't know it was rum cask until that very moment that I read it out to you.
Yeah,
because it says Irish whiskey no chill rum cask, bottled on the 8th of 2018. That's about all I get from it.
I think I've actually had that bottle. Obviously not this year, and it's not. I didn't find it too bad. I prefer the wine cask in the Teeling wine casks. If you can get a hold of it, you can find their new make every now and then as well. Teeling new make.
That would be interesting.
It is. Yeah, it's very good.
I mean, I guess I'm instantly putting it up next to Green Spot and Redbreast 12. And
the wine cask will.
Either of those.
Yeah, the wine cask will hold up better to those than the rum cask.
It's kind of shiny, like it's got a new make.
Yes, Brad, I understand, but no, there is no leaving, Brad.
Fine. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, what happened? We were supposed to be leaving like 25 minutes ago.
I told Jesse, like maybe an hour stream, something like that.
I mean, I'm invoicing.
Give or take.
I mean,
yeah, just invoice it to Cask Strength, care of the HR department, and we'll get right onto that.
Yeah.
You will be promptly paid in fuck yous.
Just an auto responder that says no.
We'll just send you the gif of Gretchen just downing some Icarus while she fist pumps.
I don't know
straight
what
from
you
the
mean by
bottom.
that, Jeremy. That definitely never happened. And that's not a gift that will ever show up on the Cask Strength Facebook page. I don't know what you possibly mean by that.
Which means it's either going up there right now or will find its way in the next hour. Ben,
People are starting to fall asleep.
Great. What are you doing here still, dude?
Yeah. Right? So for those who may not be aware, when Brad and I talk about 14-hour hangouts, we would often do it after a stream. So we'd be drinking for an hour, do a stream for an hour, and then somehow keep this shit rolling for a period of time.
And somehow still be functioning human beings.
No, we
absolutely not. Oh, that's too far.
Yeah.
I must admit, it was even a slightly strange concept to get past my wife. My boss had no idea. He was like, okay. I mean, he's totally on board with drinking. He's like, yeah, that part's cool, but the on the internet part, sure, man, whatever.
I mean, you've got shorts, you've got a shirt.
And when you're done, you're already at home. It's fun.
Yeah. And I just had to tell wife it's totally a professional thing, you know?
Yep.
Sure. Yeah.
I can get a Sharpie and write you a note on the back of a receipt.
That's pretty high class, dude. I mean, maybe on the back of a napkin.
Sure.
Fuck it. On the back of a paper towel.
No, because if I have a paper towel, the dog will find it and rip the shit out of it. So receipts are safe.
Sure. Did we just miss a comment go flying past then?
Probably. Oh yeah, Patty After Dark.
Yep.
Someone's also saying good morning. Who's it morning for? I'm confused.
Oh, no, because it's
technically
3
it is
for
3 a.m. for me. It's morning adjacent.
I appreciate your commitment, Brad. Holy shit, we just passed the 3-hour mark.
Yep.
I can see
that
YouTube metrics.
Little red box. Yeah.
What's really great is it still shows the super chat at the top. On my stream.
Until somebody else does a super chat, it's going to keep showing.
Yep.
Where is?
Oh dear, we're terrible. That's all right, Ben. If it helps, it's 6:00 p.m. my time, pretty much.
Couple of cheaters.
Well, no, because I have work tomorrow morning.
Fair.
It's all right.
Oh,
I work.
you?
Yeah. I work for Arts Queensland, man. I can be drunk. It's all good.
Arts Queensland.
Yep, that's a government job. Can't complain.
Okay, I actually don't know what you do. I am intrigued.
I'll tell you about it later. I don't do very much.
We just got a new super chat from, let me just check here. Still it. That's weird.
I just had to knock him off the post.
Yep. And that's $2 New Zealand. That's a lot of money.
Like 4 cents.
American. Yeah.
American. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all right. The Australian exchange rate's right there with you.
We actually might be worth more than you right now.
Oh shit, you might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird because there was a moment there where we were the Aussie dollar was with parity a little bit more than the US dollar, and life was good.
It's pretty close to Canadian. The New Zealand dollar is.
Oh yeah,
not quite 1-to-1, but pretty close.
We're nearly 1-for-1. It's like 1.04 cents New Zealand. Buys
so by our powers combined, we can also, we can hang with America.
Yeah. With our powers combined, we have free healthcare.
America. Don't bomb me, Trump.
Mate, they can't find us. We've got the smoke screen activated.
Yeah, that's actually fair. Yeah.
I mean, they could probably find Canada, but we're too close, so it's fine.
Yeah. Nuclear fallout might blow back.
Yeah, strategically, it would be a bad idea.
We can't bomb Canada because it's too close to Alaska. We need that shit to get through.
Yeah, I mean, and also you guys can just say sorry as soon as the bombs are in the air, and
Right.
You can just see it now. Trudeau is just like issues an official sorry. Huh? We just launched that shit. We haven't even actually launched. We just sent the codes. The damn freaking Canadians.
Oh dear. Let's not go down that path.
No.
Yeah, no. We're 3 hours in, but still, that's too far. We can't do it.
No, we're gonna wait for hour 7. Yeah.
At 7 or 8 hours in, that's when we get into politics.
At that point, Jesse may be asking to sleep on someone's couch, but
he's already at home. He's fine.
Yeah, but I don't know how the wife would take it if he rolled in 7 hours after the stream started.
I mean, he may be on the couch, but he'll be on his couch.
I've got a couch right here in the shed.
There you go.
Oh, set. And it's night, so it's nice and cool, I'm assuming.
It's just started to cool down now. Yeah. And nice. By cool down, I mean it's like 19, 20 degrees as opposed to 24, 25 degrees.
Oh, it's terrible.
Horribly hot when I first got on here, dude.
Oh, just, I don't know how I've got the aircon on at the moment. It's like 33 outside still.
It's -7 here, so I don't know what you guys are on about. But
dude, where I live right now is literally the epitome of people being fucking pussies. If it is anything below 17 degrees, they bitch and moan about it being too cold. And if it is anything above 20 degrees, they bitch and moan about it being hot. And I can't take either.
Right.
Like, do you walk outside and take a piss and your piss freezes before it hits the ground? It's not cold.
So
do you walk outside and the sun touches you and you evaporate? It's not hot.
Right.
So the weirdest thing that I've ever seen, and I thought everyone was weird until I experienced the phenomenon myself. I lived in the Northern Territory for 5 years. So for those who don't know, it's top of Australia. It is like 35 degrees or 95 Fahrenheit all fucking year round. And it's realistically just the humidity that changes.
Right.
So it's like, oh, fuck, it's hot. It's 35 degrees, but it's hot. So you'd be there in a singlet and shorts, whatever. Winter rolls around. It's 35, but it's like 0% humidity. People are wearing tracky dacks and fucking jumpers and shit. And it's like, you guys are weird as fuck. Next year, you're in a fucking jumper. And it's still 35 degrees. The temperature hasn't changed.
Yeah.
People are
I went back to Cairns for a year and worked on the dive boats. And in summer, you would go, you get in the water, you get out of the water at, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And your hair would still be wet when you woke up the next morning because of the humidity.
Yep.
Like you just nothing dried.
Crazy.
And then, the same thing. The humidity drops, the temperature goes down a few degrees, and people are wearing jackets and track pants. And you're like, dude, it's...
Right. It hasn't changed that much.
Yeah.
We definitely have a lot more variable temperatures over here. But,
you go from
it is what it is.
You go from -40 to 40.
Right. When people say, it's -4, it's like, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? Yes. It's like, oh, it's cold then. Yep, pretty much. Thankfully, it doesn't get quite that cold terribly often, but it definitely happens.
Look, I'm a realist. I know in -40, I die. Anything in single digits, and this Australian is going, shit, it's cold.
It's like with school. Like there's no like snow days here, really.
It's just days.
But if it gets cold enough that the kids can't be trusted to cover every bit of exposed skin for the 15 seconds it takes to get off the bus and into the school, then they close the school. Like it's too cold. We can't trust them to deal with it. But like snowstorm, ice, like what, it doesn't matter.
Is that secretly why you can't grow a beard, Brad? It's just the hair just keeps snapping off every.
That must be it. Let's blame the cold. Sure. So this is like 6 months of not shaving. I'm not even kidding. It's stupid.
Dude, I used to work on the ski fields in New Zealand, and I had a beard back then. And the beard would grow icicles, not because it was that cold, but because even when it was really fucking cold, it would alternate between being almost cold enough to freeze, but not quite, so everything's liquid, and then freezing again. And then almost cold enough and freezing. And that was, oh my God, it's so cold. Dude, it's like 0 degrees Celsius on average, as opposed to minus 20. There's something to be said for places where if you go outside for more than 3 minutes and you're not smart, you die.
Right. Well, that's the issue with the schools here, right? Is like it's not the snow that makes schools close; it's the temperature, because you can't be outside with exposed skin for more than 30 seconds. Without it starting to be an actual issue, and they can't trust, kindergarten kids to deal with that, so they have to close the schools.
Yet down in the South Pole,
type of people that's like different people.
I was gonna say the South Pole, they have I think it's minus 40. There is an award for going in the Nud run to like a flag and back, and they only do it on like low humidity, low wind days. There's like minus 40. You go for a nudie run to this flag, and I think you end up being outside for all about 2 or 3 minutes. But yeah, nudie run up to the flag and back, and you get a badge. It's minus 40 degrees, and it's like okay, cool. See yous.
People are crazy.
Yep. Well, it's weird there. You got to put your camera gear in like a Ziploc bag or something. Because going outside is not a problem. It's when you come back in, everything's cold inside. The condensation then destroys your camera in no time.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, everything falls apart, man.
Right. It'll also make you faint if the difference is large enough.
Oh, really?
Didn't
know about that.
If I don't know what the temperature is exactly, but like if you don't have like proper winter gear and the temperature is low enough and you go inside and the heat is blaring, you'll just faint. The expansion of like the oxygen in your blood or whatever like is just too fast. It's sort of like getting the bends, but without water pressure. Like it's that same sort of system. I don't know what the temperature variability has to be. Like it doesn't happen super often, but like it is a thing that can happen.
That's fucked up. So there's the bends is breathing compressed gas at depth and then coming up too fast.
Well, yes, so it's the nitrogen bubbles expand for the pressure difference.
Correct.
So it's not like the exact same process, but like it's that idea basically, because cold, things are fairly compressed and everything, and then you get in the heat, it rapidly expands, and bad things happen.
Well, I was gonna say there's also shallow water blackout, which is when you're free diving and you go down to depth and then come up on one breath, and people will faint, like pass out at 3 or 4 meters. So it'd be, I don't know.
Like that's heartbreaking, isn't it? You go for a free dive, you go almost.
Yeah. You don't know the difference. You're gone.
Yeah. Wonder how long it took for them to figure it was an actual thing and not and not just people didn't quite have enough oxygen in their lungs for that last bit. Did you go too deep on one breath, or was it shallow water blackout?
Yeah.
Some people
the feeling is actually growing.
Accurate.
Yeah. So if you can find it, the wine casks comes in the clear bottle.
I'm gonna look for that.
Yeah, that is nice. You can get some really interesting, almost bourbony corn flavors coming off of it. It's bizarre.
Interesting. Isn't it crazy how things are labeled differently down here? Like even for Scotch or American or Irish, distilleries, I'll see something on special in the New Zealand store or on the New Zealand website and Google it, and you can't find anything fucking anywhere. You'll find the same name, but a totally different label. Like a completely different label.
See, we get that even with our own locally produced whiskies. They will go by, like, so Starwood, it's a completely different naming convention for most of their mainline products for the US market.
Yep.
Whereas everywhere else, and I think it's the same in the UK as in here, they will go by that same naming convention. And I don't know whether it's a marketing thing, whether or not the labeling laws prevent them from using certain terms or what. I just don't know.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, basically, it's weird as fuck. Like trying to get information.
The marketing thing, or yeah. Because I found a bottle on special that was something Storm, and I thought it was a Compass Box whiskey, and I was all excited about it in New Zealand because it had a compass on it, and then I found the exact same name, but the label itself was totally different in North America.
Weird.
Which,
labeling things are weird. Even in Canada, like we get a lot of the like weird European releases instead of the US releases of things for whatever reason. Even though it would seem like it would be easier to get things from the US.
Could
we
that
end
just
up
be
with the European or UK releases of things, and it's very different from what you
could that just be a straight TTB thing, or
it could be. And like bookers, like with all their named releases and stuff in Canada, we never get any of the names. We have to look it up. It's just a random number.
Oh wow!
And we have to look up, like, find out from people on Reddit like what the matching name is, because we don't get any of the same releases. It's very strange.
We have the same thing here with any tech you buy. So if you want to go and buy a TV, you can't find a review of the TV because the only, like, the name and the registration number, or whatever you call it, it only exists in New Zealand and maybe Australia. So you can't just jump online and find a review of it because there's fuck all people here and no one do that. And quite
often it'll only be 2 or 3 digits, but it's enough to fucking throw your search.
Oh yeah. It's a couple of different digits different, but you can't find it.
Yeah. So it'd be like a Sony Bravia K1784 is the global code, but it'll be a K26784 here.
Exactly.
Fuck, great.
Yeah, and then a totally different aesthetic name.
Yeah.
The name that goes with it's completely different. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, the company I work for does a lot of similar things based around licensing and trademark. So
is that why we have Hungry Jacks in Australia?
You have what?
Hungry Jack. We don't have Burger King. It's Hungry Jacks.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. Well, you do have Burger King in some places in Australia.
Oh yeah, all of like 4 restaurants.
New South Wales, or is it in New South Wales and South or something?
Yeah, New South Wales had 1,
or
2, and then they didn't do well because obviously Hungry Jacks is the predominant marketing thing,
and it didn't match with anything, right?
Yeah.
So that's the exact sort of thing that I'm talking about. Is strategically, it would make sense to say, "Fuck it, we're just going to start a new brand." In America called Hungry Jacks, and it's going to be the exact same product as Burger King, but we'll call it Hungry Jacks for brand recognition within America, within Australia.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm going to say at 3 hours and 17 minutes that we should probably call it quits on the stream.
That might be a good idea.
But
Leamington, Pavlova's.
This is what happened last time. God damn it! I apologize. I shouldn't have said anything. I'm pretty sure that. At about the 2-hour mark, that's what started this again. Yes, I agree.
Yep. So I would like to thank the 15 odd people that are still here.
Oh, geez, yeah, 15 people.
You're idiots. I don't know why you say that.
I don't know what your problem is. Why you're watching this?
Fuck you all. Go to bed.
Yes. and potentially we may start the stream up in 17 more hours if Brad and I are still going.
Could happen.
Thank you to everyone who's hanging around and throwing us questions and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. Definitely check out Still It.
Yes, definitely.
Jesse is doing awesome stuff, and he's way more professional than we are.
Yep. I may or may not add links to Jesse's stuff later in the chat.
Yeah.
In the what's it on?
And he's got awesome merch.
Yep.
Which I happen to have sitting on my desk.
I don't think I've exactly portrayed myself in the professional manner tonight, but
and if you have an ounce of interest in the actual technical stuff that we were talking about, you are going to do more podcast stuff, right, Jesse?
Yeah. The podcast is here to stay, dude. I've got no guarantees or schedule for the podcast. It's as it comes, when it comes, on an opportunity basis. But it is a thing that's here to stay. Yeah.
Yep. You're basically a man who's got half an idea and 100% of an interest, chatting to guys that have half an idea and 100% of the execution. It's educational at worst.
I mean, the thing is true that it's the typical pitch for a podcast, right? Is that I make videos generally that are 15 to 20 minutes long, and inevitably I have to cut out a whole lot of stuff and the discussion and the arguments back and forth because that just doesn't fit into a YouTube,
sure,
formula. Whereas podcasts, the same as this, right? Like a live hangout. If you want to talk for 3 hours, you can, and you can have a discussion. Hash things
your
out.
solution is just do streams that are like 3.5 hours long, and then you won't have to worry about the podcast. It's all covered.
Also, we found that having zero plan as a plan has always been advantageous.
It makes things easier. That is true.
If you have no commitments, you can never fail to reach them.
But actually, on a serious level, I released a podcast yesterday, and listening back to it as I edited it, I had a plan on what I wanted to talk about going into that, and listening to it, it killed 2 or 3 discussions that would have been really cool to have because I jumped on. We've got off topic. I've got to drag it back.
Yep.
Right.
So legitimately just going in with no fucking plan and having a talk to someone that's like cool and is interesting to the topic you're talking about is a legitimate thing.
More often than not, if you have the plan, it's the same plan as so many other people have done. But if you just have that, if you have that conversation, you get more of what that person may not get to speak about. So you get this whole other left field interaction, which is always interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and if you've got a plan, you get the cookie cutter response, right? Like,
yep.
Yeah.
So if you get to talk about roommates and sports, and
cricket and ice hockey,
random bullshit. It's great.
Yep. And as we all know, Pavlovas and Lamingtons are truly Australian.
God damn! Take the stream off.
All right.
I guess we're done.